Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. Welcome back from the weekend. Hope you haven't melted. And thanks for being with us for the next 3 hours here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9. We're online at 580WIBW.com. We're on your mobile device on the MSC radio app. And we're on YouTube at 580 Sports Talk. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning into the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy will be along in the 4 o'clock hour as per normal. We are with you for the next 3 hours until 6 o'clock this evening. No Royals baseball tonight. Off day for the boys in blue before their 3-city, 10-game road trip continues in Minneapolis tomorrow night against the Twins. So we've got a jam-packed show for you today. Excited to be here with you. Hope you are beating the heat one way or another on some of the hottest days of the year, hopefully the hottest days that we have all year here in the capital city and surrounding areas. We have lots of stuff today to bring you from MIAA Football Media Days, which took place today right here in Topeka at the Washburn Indoor Facility. Beautiful facility. If you haven't been over there, I know it's been open for a few years now, so many of you have, but I had not been in there yet until today. It was my first time actually getting to check it out firsthand, and wow, is it magnificent. Got to be just about best in class, certainly for Division II athletics. And that was the site today of MIAA Football Media Days. I had a chance to run down the Washburn University contingent today. Zach Watkins, second-year head coach, of course, all-time Ichabod great on the gridiron, and now looking to have his program take some steps forward after a 3-8 finish, 2-7 in MIAA play in 2025. We'll play my conversation with Zach Watkins, my exclusive chat with the second-year Ichabod head coach, coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock hour today. In the 5 o'clock hour today, we'll hear from the two Washburn players who are in attendance, a couple of junior Blues turned Ichabods. Junior linebacker JC Heim, All-American, second in the nation in tackles last season, spoke with me, as did senior tight end Ty Weber, both of whom, of course, were teammates at Washburn Rural High School, now teammates at Washburn University. We'll play those conversations for you, my exclusives, with JC Heim and Ty Weber coming up in the 5 o'clock hour today, around 5:25 or so. So lots of great local sports content for you today. The Washburn Ichabods gearing up for the start of their season, and they'll get things revved up when they play at Truman State on September 5th. So we will look forward to talking Bods throughout the season as they prepare to start training camp here in just a couple of weeks. I'm sorry, the home opener is September 5th. I had my two dates crossed in my head. The season opener is at Truman State, August 29th. The home opener is September 5th. My apologies. The home opener for the Ichabods, that against the Colorado School of Mines. So, a lot of Bods talk on today's program, but plenty of Chiefs to talk about today as well on a somber and surreal day at Chiefs camp. The final day before all the rest of the vets arrive and the rest of the team pulls into St. Joe for an orientation day tomorrow. The anticipation, at least before training camp today, would be a light day and that there would not be any media availability. But obviously that changed as horrifying news out of Virginia that Chiefs offensive coordinator's wife, Eric Bieniemy's wife, Mia, has been shot. She is in stable condition after being shot multiple times, and one of the Bieniemy's sons has been arrested and charged with the crime. There are sometimes no words, and this is one of those times. Certainly, it is a horrible thing that the Chiefs must deal with. Andy Reid did speak on it earlier today. We'll play his comments here in just a little bit. It is hard to pivot from that to football. It feels very trivial in the wake of such an incident, but we will talk a little bit of Chiefs football after the workouts from the weekend. Couple of rookies that are in the headlines. Two guys that I think are going to be important for different reasons, and their starts to camp have been notable for different reasons. And we'll talk about those guys here in just a little bit. We'll also continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff as we're under 50 days now until the Chiefs and the Broncos in that Monday night season opener, September 14th. Also joining us on the program today to talk some football, Matt Verderame, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated and SI.com. Matt will join us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour as always today. And we'll get Matt's thoughts as training camps open around the league. We'll talk a little baseball as well. As I mentioned, Royals off today, so we've got the full 3 hours and no Royals baseball on the air tonight. Royals can at least claim this from this lost season. They might be the team that forced the Tigers to trade Tarek Skubal. And you know what? Maybe that's not a good thing, because if the Tigers do well in a Tarek Skubal trade and bring back a bunch of guys who torment the Royals for seasons to come, maybe we'll look back at a 4-game split between the Tigers and the Royals in Detroit right before the trade deadline in 2026 and think, boy, the Royals might have been, in the long haul, more well-advised to lay down and get swept that week and give the Tigers some false hope. But we'll talk about the weekend because it's notable for 3 reasons. History for Salvador Perez, how little separated the Tigers and the Royals this season. I know they still have some games to play in late August at Kauffman Stadium, but remarkable facts about these 7 games that the Royals and the Tigers have played at Comerica Park in Detroit this year, and a tryout at closer starting to happen right before our eyes. We'll get into that too later on. So lots to get to on the program today. Want to hear from you as we go along. The text line is open, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. We are live on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so. It doesn't cost you anything but a click or a tap of your screen. We are up over 1,000 subscribers, still greasing the wheels for our Hot Wing Challenge that Spencer Dupuis and I will do as a thank you for you all getting us to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. We have a potentially interested participant in that, so we're still trying to work out the details before we announce it formally, but it will happen. But if you're on YouTube and you're watching live, 580 Sports Talk, there's a live chat feature on the browser and on whatever mobile device you might be using. So hop on in, say hello. Vance, Mark H., Paul, a few of our regulars are in the chat this afternoon. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along. You don't have to pop into the chat and strictly talk sports. Goodness knows the regulars don't. So think of it as just a little bit of a community of 580 Sports Talk listeners that you can join and maybe enhances your enjoyment of the program. Again, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. And, of course, I forgot to mention plenty of other shenanigans. It's a Monday after all. We'll have our good, bad, ugly from the weekend. We got a new week of What Is Wrong With You and a whole lot of 580 Sports Talk headlines, including Melvin Council going to court. Not the basketball court, court. He wants to play for the Jayhawks again in 2026. And we'll talk about that breaking news from earlier today as well. Again, 785-272-9429 on the text line, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We began with the news that shook Kansas City Chiefs camp and really the entire NFL earlier today. 57-year-old Mia Bieniemy, the wife of Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, was allegedly shot by the couple's 27-year-old son, Elijah Zion Bieniemy, Sunday night at the family's home in Virginia. Elijah Bieniemy has been charged with malicious wounding, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and discharge of a firearm inside of a dwelling, according to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. Sources have told ESPN that Mia Bieniemy was shot in the chest and arm. She was hospitalized in stable condition as of today. Police in Loudoun County confirmed that a woman was being treated for serious injuries from multiple gunshot wounds, but did not confirm her identity. The shooting was reported and police responded at 7:32 p.m. last night. And the investigation, according to the sheriff's office, is ongoing. It is obviously a horrible, horrific story. And again, what we know is what everybody knows about it. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid took to the podium earlier today to try and answer a few questions, give some clarity on how everyone is feeling at the team facility and what the Chiefs will do in the absence of Eric Bieniemy, who understandably left the team to be with his wife earlier today. So here are those comments from Andy Reid from earlier.
This is our hearts go out to Eric Bieniemy and his family. Thoughts and prayers are with them. I can't get into details on it. But things happen sometimes, and Eric will work through it. He's got a great support group here, as does his family, as needed, and then we'll just let time take care of it from there. But Mia is stable, which is a plus, and so is Eric Jr., and that's all important. All right. With that, I'll open up to questions. What I can answer, I'll answer, but there'll probably be a few defers there. So.
When did you first find out about what happened?
Yesterday evening, yeah.
Andy, I know you always immerse yourself in football. Is it tougher to focus today?
Yeah, well, I tell you, I mean, listen, we all love EB, and you hate seeing these kind of things happen, but it's there's always a blessing in there somewhere, and so I know things will work out.
Coach, is there any expectation at this time when you could be back?
Yeah, there's not. On these things, real life. So you take care of that, and that becomes important. Joe Blameyer is our pass game coordinator, and he'll be involved there, obviously coordinate, and as heck is the run game coordinator. So we'll be able to keep it moving here. But the most important thing is that EB, when has an opportunity to spend some time there and take care of that business.
How did the team react when they found out the news?
They're all supportive. Everybody loves EB, as you guys do. So, he's a great person.
Coach, you've known, I'm sure, Mia for pretty much almost 30 years, and the kids as well.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you doing with all this?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I do. She's a saint. We all know that, the people that know her. One of God's good blessings right there now. Really special person. So, but things happen. Things happen, and you got to work through it. And so that's where we're at right now. And time will have to be involved in this to help heal a little bit. So, but it'll all work out in the long run.
And you said stable condition. Is that a comforting part in all this?
Yes, I would say yes. Now, we'll see here. This is fresh, so we'll just see how things go. But the fact that she's in stable condition, I think, is a positive for what it could.
So that was Andy Reid earlier today, again, commenting on the news of the day. Eric Bieniemy not with the team, naturally, as he goes to be with his wife after she was shot last night at her home, the family's home, allegedly by one of the couple's sons. Mia Bieniemy has been the long-term caregiver for another one of the couple's sons who has cerebral palsy. So there is that element to it as well. just an awful, awful story. And sometimes, there's nothing more to add than just that you're thinking of, and you're hoping for the best for everyone involved in that story. It is extremely difficult to pivot from that to football, but pivot we must, and pivot we will, because the business of football goes on for the Chiefs, who had one more day today with the quarterbacks and the rookies in camp. There was one non-rookie, notably, who was involved in this little pre-orientation period. And interestingly enough, it was Felix Anudike-Uzomah who turned up and was a part of these drills. Obviously, this is a hugely important season for Felix. His fifth-year option is not being picked up, so this is a contract year for him, and his roster spot is by no means guaranteed at this point, though, because the Chiefs did not address the edge rusher position in free agency, didn't go out and add a veteran as we speculated and others speculated they might throughout the offseason. That certainly gives Felix an opportunity, more of an opportunity, to make the 53-man roster. So he was there, and obviously all the quarterbacks, including the veterans, were there, but the rest of the camp, rookies. And in the course of the 3 days, to yesterday, everything started Saturday. It was the first workout, then Saturday, Sunday, and then the workouts today. There are two members of the 2026 draft class who stood out for pretty different reasons, I thought. Two guys that I think are going to be important to the 2026 Chiefs. And I'm not breaking any news or breaking any ground or saying anything outlandish when I say that one of those players who's going to be a big part of how the 2026 season unfolds for the Chiefs is Mansoor Delane, the first-round pick, the cornerback out of LSU who went number 6 overall. Chiefs obviously trading up in the draft 3 spots to draft Delane, and after moving on from Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson this offseason, there is nobody standing between Delane and the top of the depth chart, which is what made him having to sit out mandatory minicamp due to a shoulder injury a bit concerning. He did pass his physical enough to get out on the field, but he's been going through drills early in camp, and it's all non-contact to this point, obviously. But he is going through the drills, went through the first few days of drills in a non-contact jersey. So Chiefs are taking it slow with Delane, and it's good news at least that he's out there. We talked a little bit about this last week. The scheme that Steve Spagnuolo puts his defensive backs in is not exactly plug and play. You've got to have the physical ability, yes, but you've also got to have the football IQ and the savvy to get it right and to prove yourself trustworthy to get on the field. And guys who have not, who've been a little slow, who've been a little behind, that's where you see playing time suffer. Wonder why we didn't see as much of Noel Williams as you wanted to last year? Still learning the scheme. Why did it take Christian Fulton almost the entire season after he dealt with an injury in camp to get on the field? He lost that development time and that practice time to learn the role and learn the scheme. He got behind and he had trouble catching up. So it is critical that Mansoor Delane is on the field and is as healthy as he can be and is participating to the fullest extent that he can. Frankly, important that he practice to the fullest extent once you start having contact, once the veterans get in, because it is not going to be good enough for Mansoor Delane to be on the field as a rookie. He has to be an impact player as a rookie. You don't draft somebody number 6 overall unless they're a quarterback that you're trying to ease into life in the NFL. Some circumstances are different at different positions, but you don't draft a cornerback number 6 overall. You don't make the move up in the draft to ensure that you get that player at that position if the plan is not for them to be impactful immediately, impactful on the level of potentially a defensive rookie of the year. That's what you're talking about with a top 10 pick. Anything less than that, and I'm not saying anything less than a Defensive Rookie of the Year award, but anything less than a performance that is top of the depth chart caliber from Delane is going to be a disappointment. And anything that sets him back from learning the scheme and growing comfortable in the scheme is an obstacle towards Delane achieving the level of play that the Chiefs need him to achieve. So it's good that he's out there. It's good that he was cleared to participate, and they've had him in a non-contact jersey, and they're playing it safe with him. But can't afford to have the training wheels on Delane for very long. The other rookie, a lot less is expected of your day 3 picks than is expected of the number 6 overall pick in the draft. But Cyrus Allen turned some heads at camp. In particular, on Sunday, he had a highlight reel catch from Mahomes working with the ones, working with QB1, making a catch in between 2 defenders. And it was really interesting to hear both Cyrus Allen and Emmett Johnson, the rookie running back out of Nebraska, who both spoke to the media yesterday. Listening to them both talk about how they are being coached and talking about their interactions to this point with Eric Bieniemy and with Andy Reid. I think that Cyrus Allen's I'm paraphrasing, but I think this is the direct quote when he was asked about Eric Bieniemy. He said, "He don't play," which, that's the coaching style the Chiefs wanted to bring back into the locker room, onto the practice field. That's why EB is back. But I found it to be interesting that both Allen and Johnson spoke about how hard they were being coached, because I think it is an indication that the expectation for both of them is that they are day one contributors. And look, might not really be a choice for Cyrus Allen. Who else is there with NFL experience that you trust to make an impact, to help, to be there when called upon in that wide receiver room? The Chiefs' top 3 is entrenched. Rashee Rice coming off the injury. We'll see how it looks for him when he gets into camp. He'll be one of the most fascinating guys to watch throughout camp in the preseason. Obviously Xavier Worthy, obviously Tyquan Thornton. But wide receiver number 4, wide open. Wide open. And your candidates are a day 3 pick from last year in Jalen Royals, who couldn't sniff the field and got 2 targets all season. Nico Remigio, who for his gifts as a return man is clearly not trusted in the passing game and hasn't gotten many opportunities there. And Cyrus Allen. Like, those are your guys. One of those 3 is going to be wide receiver number 4 and be one injury away from having to contribute in a significant way to the Chiefs passing game. And again, early indications for Jalen Royals, not great. Now, Royals got hurt. He had a nice camp last year up until he got hurt in the preseason game, and that obviously set him back. And I would be remiss if I did not point out that the history of rookie wide receivers, especially second day or third day picks who are rookie wide receivers under Andy Reid, it's not stellar. Unless you're a Hall of Fame talent like Tyreek Hill. And obviously, the circumstances under which he was a third-day pick, a little bit different. So, I think there is an opportunity for Cyrus Allen that exists in front of him. Now, whether that opportunity should exist, the fact that that opportunity exists points to a big problem that the Chiefs have with a lack of wide receiver depth and not very good wide receiver room. But the opportunity is there. And clearly, the Chiefs are coaching Cyrus Allen in such a manner that they believe in him. You don't get into somebody's face. You don't make that kind of first impression as a coach that Eric Bieniemy has made, that Andy Reid has made with Cyrus Allen, if you are not being coached hard. And you don't get coached hard unless there is an expectation that you help. they're probably not in Jimmy Holiday's face. Or, I don't know, is Magdalena still on the practice squad? Guys like that. They're not in their faces like they're in Cyrus Allen's face. So the Chiefs need Cyrus Allen. And the fact that they're in the position that they kind of need Cyrus Allen is, yes, a detriment and not a promising sign. But, again, he was impressive, seemed to develop a bit of an early rapport with Mahomes. This early period can only be helpful in that regard. And he'll be an interesting name to watch as training camp progresses. Looking for your thoughts, 785-272-9429 on the text line. Also on our live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We're going to talk to Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, SI.com here in about 10 minutes or so. We still got some Royals to get to on the show. We got a lot of Washburn football on today's program. It was MIAA Football Media Days. We'll hear from Zach Watkins. We'll hear from the All-American at linebacker, JC Heim. We'll hear from the tight end, the senior, Ty Weber, coming up later on the show. It's a great big show today. Glad you're here on this Monday, 580 Sports Talk. .333 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero with you. Spencer Dupuy will be along in the 4 o'clock hour. Again, we are with you until 6 o'clock this evening. Matt Verderame, probably Matthew's given name, but we call him Matt. Matt Verderame will join us here in just a little bit to talk some NFL football. Something else I thought was interesting from Chiefs camp in the early going, something that Nate Taylor pointed out, some of his reporting on ESPN.com. Some good starts for a couple of defensive backs. Jaden Kennedy is lining up mostly at nickel in his time so far in this 3 days of pre-orientation camp. He had a impressive pass breakup on Sunday, also intercepted Justin Fields at the goal line on Saturday. Make all your jokes about Justin Fields getting intercepted here. But a strong start for Jaden Kennedy and lined up at a position where I think the Chiefs have a need and where I think Kennedy can get on the field. Another guy who continued to perform well, had a really good rookie camp, had a good mandatory minicamp, Xavier Wampa at safety. I think that's a name to know. Dave Tobe mentioned him by name during minicamp as somebody who had stood out in special teams drills, and that's a really good way to make the team. But the Chiefs have moved off of those veteran safeties, right? There's not like a Mike Edwards in the room right now, a guy who's been around for a bunch of years, played a lot of games. sort of a security blanket maybe for Dave Merritt or Steve Spagnuolo's a veteran guy. The Chiefs appear ready to turn that position over to some younger players. Obviously, they brought in Alohi Gilman as a free agent, but Jaden Hicks still around, and Wampa out of Iowa, is a good player at Iowa, seems to have a leg up on potentially earning a 53-man spot as an undrafted free agent. And the Chiefs are going to need, given their relative lack of draft capital this past season, they're going to need an undrafted free, player or two to pop. Khalil Benson on the offensive line is one of those. It's not this year's class, but Cooper McDonald's an undrafted guy who's got a chance. Obviously, Esapole from last year's class, and Xavier Wampa's another name to know in that regard. And had a really good day by all accounts on Saturday in particular. And again, defensive back's a tricky position to learn in that defense. So you're looking for guys who hit the ground running from an athletic standpoint, who are out there as athletes making plays, because that's something that the defensive structure can build on. And the more you know in the system, the more you know the assignments, then you let your athleticism take over, and before you know it, those guys are out there having an impact. Chiefs need young guys to have an impact because it's all young guys, basically. They turned over that secondary. So Delane, Kennedy, Wampa, Jaden Hicks entering year 3, Noel Williams entering year 2, obviously. Those guys all have to be good and have to be good right away in that secondary. We'll talk to Matt Verderame here in just a moment. After this time out, our NFL insider will join us. But before that, I want to put in a good word for my good friends at Calhoun's Jewelers on 18th and Gage here in Topeka. Outstanding showroom, great know-how, very knowledgeable and friendly staff. They're going to help you find exactly what it is that you're looking for, or design it if you can't find it. Either way, you're going to come out with the ring or the pendant or the necklace of your dreams when you visit Calhoun's Jewelers, 18th and Gage, here in Topeka. Matt Verderame joins us next. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by our NFL insider, Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated and SI.com. Also has his Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, that you can subscribe to, and you can check him out on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network. Matt, Chiefs camp kind of underway. They got the quarterbacks and the rookies out. Mansoor Delane cleared to go. I'm going to start with him because we were just talking about him among the rookies. Obviously, he's the highest profile, the number 6 overall pick. How good do the Chiefs need him to be right from the get-go? Are we talking like they need him to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, or how good do they need him to be given the relative youth and inexperience in the rest of that secondary?
I think they need him to be a quality plus starter. I don't think they need him to be an All-Pro. I don't think they need him to be a Pro Bowler, although I think it's possible he's Pro Bowler as a rookie. I really do. I think his ceiling is that high that quickly. But I think they just need him to be a good, solid, I don't know, maybe a tick above Jalen Watson from a year ago, like that level of player. And I think if they get that, they'd be pretty happy. They'd be good. But, look, they have a decent secondary. They have a lot of talent in that secondary. For me, the question is just, how does it all work together? Who ends up getting this slot position? Who ends up, is Connor just clearing away as a safety and that's all that he is? Like, those are the bigger questions. I think Delane, there's no reason to not believe in him as a guy who can come in and immediately be a quality starter.
The other big on-field headline for this early period of Chiefs training camp is obviously that Patrick Mahomes fully cleared to participate. Looks like he's going through everything that you would expect him to go through at this stage in camp. I guess the question at this point is not, like, is he going to play week 1? But, we look at positions that depend a little bit more on quick twitch and cutting and accelerating and decelerating, like wide receiver. And we say, coming off an ACL, it takes you maybe a year before you're all the way back, like a year of playing following the injury before you're all the way back. Now that it looks like Mahomes is going to start week 1, at what point, if at all, do you think it would be reasonable for the Chiefs to expect that Mahomes is going to be able to do the Mahomes stuff that we've come to know and appreciate over the last several years that he's been the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think it probably. I would look at like the midseason point and say, all right. I mean, realistically speaking, is that when he's really comfortable running and scrambling at full speed? Maybe even we saw that throw in camp was going to his left and throwing against the grain and throwing against his body. Is that when he feels truly confident? I think that he can be a 90% player right away for the most part, because to your point, he's not in the trenches. He's not a receiver. He's quarterback. As long as you can drop back, have a decently clean pocket and throw the football, like he should be okay. But you're human. You're going to be sitting there thinking about a guy rolling into you, maybe a guy stepping, close to your plant leg. I think that's always going to be in the back of his mind early on in the year. But I wonder about the midway point, maybe 11 months after the injury, something like that. Is that when he says, okay, I feel confident, I can really let it go, so to speak.
Matt Verderame is our guest, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk, covers the league for Sports Illustrated and SI.com, and joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Mahomes is not the only quarterback trying to work his way back from a major injury. Daniel Jones says he's fully cleared from his torn Achilles that interrupted what was an impressive bounce-back season, or at least half season, for the formerly maligned New York Giants first-round pick in his first year there starting in Indianapolis. What can the Colts expect from Jones this season? And is he the guy that makes the difference for them? Like, do you believe that they're a contender if he's out there and healthy? Or do you think that they're a pretty long way from that, even if Jones comes back and is able to play this year?
I think even if he comes back and plays, they're a 7-win team. I just don't see it. And look, they made a huge bet last year when they spent 2 first-rounders on Sauce Gardner. And not because of that trade, but everything went right down the drain after that happened. And again, it had nothing to do with that deal. It's just like Jones got hurt. He stopped playing well. But, if you go back and really look at it, Jones was not playing well before he got hurt. I mean, that was something that was in progress. His last month and a half, he did not play anywhere near the way he played the first couple months of the season. And so I do think it brings up the fair question. Like, all right, we saw Daniel Jones for a long time, and he was kind of a guy. And then all of a sudden, he was just awesome for 2 months, and then he went right back to being a guy. It's kind of more likely he's just a guy, right? Like, I think that's where we are. And I look at the AFC, and there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of ways you could slice it. Who do you like? Who's the favorite? All these things. It's really hard to make a case that the Colts are going to be one of those teams, even if Jones plays 17 games. Look, I like Steichen. I really like Lou Anarumo. I think they're well coached, but they lost Pittman. They lost some guys off that offensive line. They traded Jair Franklin to the Packers. It's a lot. They didn't have a first-round pick. It's a lot. I think they're a third or fourth place team in their own division.
While we're on the topics of quarterbacks, has there ever been a funnier holdout than Jacoby Brissett's in Arizona?
No. It is legitimately, it is the funniest holdout you'll ever see. Like, I was talking to somebody, a former player, a really good former player, a couple weeks ago. I was interviewing him for a story. It had nothing to do with Brissett. And we just started talking about the NFL, and we were just talking ball, and it came up. And he said, "Can you believe that this guy's asking for more money after he went 1-11 last year?" And this is a player. Like, a player was like, "Can you believe this guy's audacity to ask for more money?" Like, players are always like, "Hey, man, go get whatever you can get." Blah, blah. And this guy was like, "This is unbelievable that he would even approach the general manager." And yet somehow, like, he got a little bit of an adjusted contract. Listen, if you're Jacoby Brissett, I guess it's one of those deals like you might as well ask, because what other option do you really have here? But, man, the Cardinals, if the Dolphins didn't exist, everybody would be talking about the Cardinals as, oh, yeah, they're the worst team in the league.
Are they clearly, to you, the worst team in the NFC?
Yeah. I think they are. Like, the NFC, when you look at it, I mean, you could make a case, if you really wanted, for one of these teams in the NFC South. Like, whoever finishes fourth in the NFC South is awful, right? Like,
right.
But here's the thing. Any of those teams could finish fourth in the NFC South. Like, you don't know who it's going to be. Nobody in the NFC West other than the Cardinals is bad. The NFC North, everybody's at least respectable. And the NFC East, the Giants, the Giants are better than that. The Commanders are better. It's one of those things, I'm sure we're going to look back and feel silly about this. It feels almost impossible that the Dolphins and the Cardinals aren't picking 1 and 2 in the draft, right? Like, it almost feels like that's guaranteed. And then, one of these teams, just because it's the NFL, will be drafting like 17. But it feels, when you look at it, it's almost impossible to make any kind of a real case. Oh, yeah, one of those teams is actually going to be good or even reasonably good. Like, I just don't know what that case is in either scenario.
Talking football with Matt Verderame, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, you've got a piece at SI.com, Sports Illustrated, your Super Bowl 61 roadmap, and you've written a couple for a couple of different teams, and one of them, your most recent one, is about the Baltimore Ravens. And obviously, you start with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and some of the guys that are Kyle Hamilton, like the top-end talent on that roster is Super Bowl caliber, but they've got a brand-new head coach this year. They missed the playoffs last season. How much pressure is on Baltimore to win it all this year, even with a new coach and some turnover elsewhere on the roster? Is this a win or else year for the Ravens, where if they don't at least make the AFC Championship game, they got to start thinking about maybe doing some things differently?
Well, I think the biggest reason, beyond just they knocked on the door and not gotten there, the biggest reason that there's so much pressure on them is they're old. Like, there are a lot of guys in that team now. They're old. I mean, Henry's, I think, 32, going on 33. Stanley's in his 30s. Marlon Humphrey's in his 30s. They lost Linderbaum, who was one of their young stars. Jackson's going to be 30 in January, and he's not a guy I think most people really think is going to age super well with the way that he plays. Yeah, they're old. Mark Andrews is 30 and for some reason got a 3-year extension. Like, they're old. And I think there is a lot of pressure. I will tell you this, though. While I do think there's a ton of pressure on Baltimore, I don't know that anybody's under more pressure than the Bills, especially after those uniforms they put out. I mean, you're going to wear that, boy, you better win the Super Bowl. That's disgraceful. The players ought to pick it out front. That thing.
Listen, I saw people saying, "Oh my gosh, Buffalo's New Jerseys look terrible," and I saw the picture. I said, "That doesn't look so bad." I mean, gosh, they're going to look good in the MAC playing against Kent State and Akron. And then I said, "Wait a minute, not University of Buffalo? Those are the Buffalo Bills are going to wear those uniforms? It can't be."
I mean, honestly, it's an affront to the MAC. It's unbelievable. Whoever approved that should be given life in prison. That is unbelievable that an NFL team's going to wear those uniforms. But the Bills to me are almost under more pressure just because they didn't fire the coach and go outside the building like the Ravens did. They fired the coach and then said, "Well, he's clearly the problem because we're just going to go down the hallway to fire the hire his replacement." Like, if you're the Bills and you lose the divisional round again, let's just say that's where they fall. Like, what do you do? What do you at that point? Okay, you just fired McDermott and it literally said with your action, "Well, he's the reason. Like, he is the reason we don't win." Okay, well, you really better win this year. And in the division that in my eyes, other than New England, like, come on. I mean, the Jets and the Dolphins might not combine for 8 wins. Like, you can't win that division. Let's put it this way, though. I think those two teams are under more pressure than anybody else. Because, like you said, the Rams, like, they're the favorites. But, McVay and Stafford have won together. Like, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's disappointing. But you just won recently. The Bills and the Ravens, no two teams are under more. Those two teams are 1A, 1B, whatever order you want to put them in. There is an enormous amount of pressure on those two teams.
Since they haven't been on the field yet, you can't say the Bills' new Nickel City alternates. What are the worst uniforms an NFL team has ever worn? The ugliest.
Oh, my God. I mean, Tucker Franklin and I just did this, actually, on the podcast we put out this morning. The Broncos 1960 brown and yellows.
With the striped socks? Ugh.
Not good. But in, modern times, I mean, Seattle's lime green ones, those are challenging to look at. The Buccaneers with those alarm clock numbers.
Yes,
those are really bad. There are the Bears, they wear those pumpkin helmets are insane. But this Bills thing, and you know what the worst part is? This is such an unforced error. The Bills looked at the Lions with those all gray pajama uniforms they wear, and had all the alarm bells like, "Hey, don't do this." And then whoever designed this for the Bills was like, "Actually, let's do that, but crappier. Let's make it even worse than that." Well, we need the Bills and the Lions to play each other, and just both of them wear those uniforms.
Gray on gray. I would spend the whole...
Just a gray off. Just unbelievable.
I'm just colorblind enough. I'd spend the whole game confused. I would spend the whole game. I'm just color deficient enough that would be a nightmare. I couldn't watch that game. The Seahawks' current lime green look is a lot, but I think the worst one they ever wore was the one for one game in the Jim Mora era where just the front and back were that lime green and everything else stayed that same navy blue color that they wore in the Hasselbeck-Holmgren years. And they just randomly decided, we're going to make the front lime green and the back lime green. They wore them for one game. They were the worst thing I ever saw.
Yeah, they're disgusting. Every once in a while, you'll get a team that, in theory, the idea is good. And then, they wear it. It's like, okay, now. But then there's the rare moment, as we're getting with the Bills right now, where even in theory it's a horrendous idea. And somebody was like, no, let's press ahead with it. It'll be fine. It'll look better than it sounds. And then they're like, actually, no, it's even worse. But there are some uniforms you'll look at and I just don't get the thought process. I don't understand how, some of these teams, like the Falcons, for years on end, they tweak it, they change it. Just go back to when you had the red helmets. Every single person alive thinks they look better. And nope, going to stick with the black ones. Okay, that's great. Thanks. or the Broncos when they redid their whole uniform, it just became like knockoff Boise State. And they could have gone back to those awesome like 70s and 80s era uniforms. Like, just once a year. Like, why? Why are you wearing them 8 times? Like, home and road every game. Why? I don't think, at least the Bills, thank God it's an alternate, but I have a feeling they're going to wear those for 1 or 2 games, and it's going to die a very, very quiet, ugly death.
Matt Verderame covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated, SI.com. He's our NFL insider on 580 Sports Talk. Always a pleasure, Matt. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We'll take a timeout, come back with the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend that was on 580 Sports Talk. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend that was. Give me my good to start off. It's an easy one. 318 career home runs for Salvador Perez. He now stands alone on the all-time list of Royals home run hitters, surpassing George Brett. A neat moment, really cool too. I don't know if you were watching the broadcast on Sunday. They laid out the story. The fan who got the ball was actually getting ready to throw it back onto the field because he knew that if he threw it back on the field, then they'd have no trouble getting the ball, the historic ball, to Perez. But the guy who got the ball, he's not a Detroiter or a Tigers fan. He's actually up from the Chicago area because he knows the Massey family, as in Michael Massey, the Royals second baseman. So the guy was there watching a family friend play, and that family friend's teammate made a little bit of baseball history and Royals history, and the guy got an autographed jersey and got to meet Salvi out of the deal. So pretty neat all the way around there. That was my good from the weekend. I'll be honest, I didn't really have a bad. It was a pretty good weekend, enjoyable weekend with the family. We stayed inside quite a bit because of my ugly. Heat indexes in the high 110s and into the 120s in some places. That is grotesque. I don't know how you live like that on a regular basis if you live in a place where it's this hot all the time. Disgusting. I am like glazed right now, like a glaze on my forearms and the backs of my hands, my forehead, like a Krispy Kreme, just a sweat glaze that I've walked around with like pretty permanently for the past 2 days. Just revolting. So that's my ugly from the weekend. Hope you're staying warm or cool. No, staying warm is no problem. Hope you're staying cool wherever you're listening to 580 Sports Talk today. Next hour, we'll hear from Washburn football head coach Zach Watkins from MIAA Football Media Days. We'll talk some Royals baseball, do What Is Wrong With You. That's coming up in hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 2 on this Monday afternoon. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuy hanging out with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. We're online at 580WIBW.com. We're on your mobile device anywhere you go on the MSC Radio app. And we're on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Hello to all of our video viewers watching us sweat our way through this Monday. Thanks for being here. We're with you until 6 o'clock. No Royals baseball tonight. Royals and Twins open a 3-game series at Target Field tomorrow night. We'll talk a little bit of Royals baseball later on this hour. Also have a lot of MIAA Football Media Days content to get you today, including my exclusive one-on-one interview with Washburn head football coach Zach Watkins. That's coming up here in just a little bit. In the 5 o'clock hour, you'll hear from a couple of former Washburn rural teammates, now Washburn teammates, senior tight end Ty Weber, junior linebacker JC Heim. I spoke with both of them earlier today at the beautiful Washburn Indoor Facility. The Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility was renamed this year in honor of Bill Snead. Have you been in there, Spence?
I have not been inside the indoor. No.
I had not been inside until today.
I drove by it last week when I was at Lee Arena because I came in that weird way right behind it or to the left of it.
Yeah.
And then back behind because the media parking was back there. So
sure. No, it's an incredible facility. I mean, I got to believe, like I said earlier, I got to believe that's best in class for the MIAA, for Division II. It is just an outstanding. You got the full length 100-yard football field on one side. You got the indoor track with plenty of spectator seating on the other side. Great big scoreboard for the indoor track. It is it's awesome. It's so cool in there, and thankfully it was cool in there. They turned on the air conditioning yesterday.
I mean, look, I would hope they would. They want to impress the conference commissioner.
I think you saw, if you saw any of the video content today, you would have seen an old friend of ours as the MC of the event.
That was cool. I read the little thing they published when they posted the thing.
And if they had not turned on the AC, our old pal Brendan Dworzinski would have been a puddle by the end of the day.
Yeah,
he showed up in a suit.
Yeah, he
looked sharp, man. Yeah, he looked sharp. I mean, I went to polo and golf slacks. I tried to clean up a little bit. I'm a bit of a puddle myself here. I
thought you would have just gone with the shorts because of how hot it was.
You know, I thought about it. I just can't do it. Like, I don't know. I can't go to a press event in shorts. It doesn't sit right with me. I was. Apparently not everybody who came today felt the same way as me, and that's fine. Like, I'm not here to judge. I don't think there's necessarily a wrong way to go about it, just as long as everybody can tell you're there to work.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't turn up in like a jersey. I wouldn't turn up in like jeans that didn't fit, or, you know, like a t-shirt with holes in it, or athletic shorts.
I wouldn't show up in a t-shirt.
I wouldn't show up like I was about to go like get a lift in,
Yeah.
Or get some shots up at the rec. Like, there's a wrong way, but I don't necessarily think there's a right way. I've always believed in, if I'm going to a media event, I'm going to wear a polo shirt and I'm going to wear slacks. Like, I've got these golf pants that are a little more breathable for a day like today. I got a few pairs of those. I got other pairs of slacks. It just depends on the occasion.
My rule of thumb is if it's in the months of June, July, or August, or the first week in September, I'm going to wear shorts.
I respect that.
But if it's anything outside of that, I don't care if it's a warm day in April, I'm wearing pants.
Anybody who wore shorts today was probably smarter than me because the heat indexes are, again, in the 110s. The other thing that I do, if you ever see me, if I go to cover a Kansas State football game, and I've run into listeners in the parking lot at Bill Snyder Family Stadium or in the parking lot at Bramlage Coliseum. So this has happened. But if you see me, and I'm out covering a game, whether it's in Lawrence or it's in Kansas City or it's in Manhattan, wherever it is, I try my best. And you can't do it at an event like a Media Day type event, but I'm always going to try to wear neutral colors. I think that's really important, to wear a neutral color, a color that does not represent. So, like, if Kansas State is playing UCF, I could wear a red shirt. I could wear, I'd feel okay wearing a red shirt. If I went to go and cover KU playing against, KU's playing Colorado. Like, I would feel okay wearing, purple would be, I'd wear a purple shirt, or a green shirt. The one time I did that, because I can be a little self-conscious, that's just one thing that's fun about my brain, that I can get a little self-conscious. One time I remember, doing that when I went to cover a Nebraska football game. And, if you've ever been to Lincoln on a Nebraska game day, everyone's wearing red. Everyone is wearing red. And I am walking to the stadium from whatever parking they gave me through this sea of red, and I am wearing a seafoam green polo, feeling like I must be the sorest sore thumb. Because I think, God, who were they playing? It was somebody else it was Washington. They were playing Washington. It was a non-conference game. And so, the pocket of Washington people are in purple, and here I am in green, the greenest green. And, I really felt self-conscious, really felt myself sticking out that day. But anyhow, thankfully it was not a heat index of over 110 degrees in Lincoln on that particular day, because that would have been a very sweaty walk to the stadium. As I mentioned, we got more MIAA Football Media Day content to bring you this hour. And next, we're going to talk some Royals baseball. We got some more Chiefs to get into. Still got headlines. Later this hour, we got What Is Wrong With You as well. Text line 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go in there, check us out. Hopefully you're inside today, and you can fire it up on your computer. You can fire it up on your phone, and appreciate those of you who are checking us out here in the live chat.
I'm here to let you know, Dan, that 580 Sports Talk account was on YouTube 5 years ago.
Yes, it's our 5-year anniversary of making YouTube content. Now, that was before I returned from my little
which makes sense because it was COVID.
Sabbatical.
So it was
in Northwest Kansas. So, yes, July 27th of 2021, Brendan must have been bored, and he and Jake LeBon fired it up. And then we started streaming the show on a regular basis. I think it was the day before, or it was Halloween of 2022. We started streaming what were then 2 sports talk shows at the time, mic'd up with Jake and Fulton, and 580 Sports Talk with myself and Brendan. So, fun little 5-year anniversary. So, go check us out on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel.
For that, hit us with a sub if you haven't.
Yes, go subscribe. Celebrate our birthday by subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are over 1,000. The Hot Wing Challenge is being negotiated.
Yes,
is what we can tell you. It is. We are negotiating the Hot Wing Challenge, and we are going to make that happen. You know, it'd be a terrible day to do a Hot Wing Challenge today. So I'm glad we put it off. I'm glad we pushed it back, maybe to a more Hot Wing appropriate month like August. But
How is that appropriate? It's still going to be hot.
less hot than July?
It might be more hot than
It
July.
might be
You
more
never
hot.
know.
It might be more hot than July. You're right. Anyhow. MIAA Football Media Days were today, as I mentioned, at the Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility at Washburn. That means the MIAA football preseason polls were released today, and there's a difference of opinion between the coaches and the media as far as who the top dog is entering 2026. Pitt State and Northwest Missouri, who shared the league title last year, were the top two teams in both polls. The coaches preferring the Gorillas by a vote of 7-3 over the Bearcats. The media poll, which had 30 respondents, saw 19 first-place votes for Northwest Missouri and 10 for Pitt State, with 1 for Central Oklahoma. Central Oak was third in both polls. Then Central Missouri and Fort Hays State flip-flopped. They were Central Missouri, the Mules, fourth in the media poll. Fort Hays State, fifth. It was the reverse for the coaches. They had the Tigers fourth and the Mules fifth. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. The media and the coaches found consensus. The bottom half of the league, Emporia State 6th, UNK 7th, Nebraska Kearney, Washburn 8th, Missouri Western 9th, and Missouri Southern 10th. For my part, filled out my media poll. I also had Northwest winning the league. I had Washburn 7th. I flip-flopped them in Nebraska Kearney. I think the rest was how I had it. If I remember correctly, I had Pitt State 2, Central Oak 3. I might have flip-flopped Hayes and Central Mo, and then Emporia 6, and I had Washburn 7. Nebraska Kearney 8, Western and Southern rounding out the poll. Obviously, a lot to build on, a lot to hopefully grow from year one of the Zach Watkins era at Washburn, as the Ichabods finished 3-8 last year, 2-7 in the MIAA. Zach Watkins is back for year number 2 on the sideline, and I caught up with him earlier today here in the capital city. Here's my exclusive one-on-one chat with the coach of the Ichabods, Zach Watkins.
It is MIAA Football Media Days from the Washburn Indoor Facility. Dan Lucero speaking with the second-year head coach of the Washburn Ichabods, Zach Watkins. And Zach, first and foremost, how was your summer? How did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a great summer. Great summer for the program, great summer for our players, great summer family-wise, spending time with our kids, and it's been a great year 2 summer.
Get a chance to get away, or?
Yeah, we go to Florida every year. I get the staff time to recharge and get away, because I think it's so important to, with how hard we work, the hours we put in, and how demanding we can be, and what football takes to be successful. You have to get away, recharge a little bit in the summer, come back ready to go.
I talked to JC Heim and Ty Weber earlier, and they were both raving about the spring and the summer and the turnout for weights, things like that. Is that at the level that you want to see it at? Were you pleased with how that turned out for your players this summer?
Yeah, since we got the job, we've been preaching this summer. And before we got here, summer was not the biggest priority, and it wasn't as well attended as it needs to be to win in the MIAA. So this summer was great. And the numbers we had, the type of things we were able to accomplish this summer with our strength coach and the player-led stuff that we did was just I'd put it up there with anybody in the conference with how hard these guys worked.
Talking with Zach Watkins, head coach of the Washburn Ichabods. Obviously, in the transfer portal era, it's tougher to keep your roster together. You had some losses to the portal. You had some additions to the portal. Of course, it works both ways. But what is your responsibility, and how difficult or not maybe are some of those aspects of making sure you keep guys together? Essentially, what are you trying to do? What do you have to make sure you do to make sure that you have the most roster retention you can and the most continuity you can as you try to build something here?
Yeah, you have to have the strong culture. I know that's kind of the buzzword now, but you've got to have a belief in your players and players' belief in you guys as coaches that we're doing things the right way, we're taking care of them. And we make it very hard for guys to leave, just the way we treat them, how hard we work, the success that we're building up to have. And so, if guys leave, it's unfortunate, but you have to replace them. We're still going to be a high school-based recruiting program, so we don't want to live in the transfer portal, but you do have to fill some holes, and we have a very strict recruiting plan that Coach Sharp and our department has put together of how we're going to attack that. But when your players believe in you as a head coach and your staff and what you're doing with our program, then you can retain those kids. And I'm really proud of our retention percentage. I'm really proud of the guys who are here and believe in what we're doing, and we're going to be much better moving forward because of them.
The 5 for 5, it's coming to Division I. Division II sounds like they're seriously considering it. Be surprised at this point if it doesn't come to Division II as well. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's a beneficial change for what your perspective is and maybe for just Division II athletics as a whole?
Yeah, it will definitely clean some things up. It'll clean up the questions and eligibility and waivers, and but to really know the effects of it, we're going to have to be in it. So if it does pass, we're going to have to know, what exactly our current players, how that affects them, future players, all the different levels, JUCO, MIAA, all those things rolled in. So I'm not sure you'll really know the answer until you're in it, but I do think it'll be a good thing just for the transparency of everything moving forward.
Zach Watkins is joining us from MIAA Football Media Days, the second-year head coach of the Washburn Ichabods. Last year, 3-8 record, but 4 of those 8 losses were by 1 score, 1 touchdown or less. So you're right there. You're a play or two, a bounce or two from 500 or above. How do you make that play? How do you get that bounce? What are the focuses for your program to make sure that you're 1 play, 1 bounce better this year as things go on?
Yeah, kind of like we told our guys since we got here, but then since January is, you have those close losses. Year 2, the urgency of football success is just heightened because it's not the first time doing anything anymore. It's the second time you've done it over. And so we're going to venues and teams we've played before now as a full staff. And so hopefully the year 2 goals, those close losses turn into close wins. And then, year 2, 3, 4, 5 and beyond, you just keep building the program. But it is encouraging when I think we have a much improved roster, top to bottom, talent-wise, coaching acumen, a better feel for things overall in this program. So year 2, the urgency to make a good, successful football jump is there.
You've got a battle going on at the quarterback position. Logan Madden, your most experienced player at that position, coming back, but you got some others with some in-game experience as well. Is that a question you'd like to have settled pretty early in camp, or do you feel like that could be a competition that goes all the way down to game week of that first game at Truman State?
Yeah, coming out of spring ball, guys have definitely separated themselves, and when training camp is kind of the end result of the summer leadership, the player-led things that we do. The quarterback battle is always going to be at the forefront of that. And so really proud of Logan, really proud of Justin Lewis, really proud of Keller Hurla coming back from injury, really proud of all the quarterbacks for battling. We told those guys from day one the best guy is going to play. So the best guy has the best spring, the best summer, and now the best training camp. And training camp's only a couple weeks long, so it's going to be a shortened down version of who's going to win the job. But I'm really excited about where we are at that spot.
Playmakers around him. You got some changing faces there, running back, wide receivers. Who are you really excited about in terms of their potential to be some of the game-breaking guys that Washburn's been able to feature the last couple of years and kind of follow in that tradition?
Yeah, Cam Robinson coming back to be our junior running back. He'll be the kind of the cornerstone at the running back spot. Our receiver talent has really been elevated from our recruiting, but also our transfer portal additions. And then our O-line is all back and just experienced and had a few additions there and much, much better up front. And you have to win in the MIAA in the trenches, and we address the O-line and D-line and recruiting and the transfer portal. And so I could go on about the entire roster, but I just think overall, top to bottom, we're deeper and more talented across every position.
Zach Watkins, head coach of the Washburn Ichabods, joining us here from MIAA Media Days on 580 Sports Talk. Defensively, it seems as though, and no surprise given your own background as a linebacker at Washburn, that this was a team that sort of forged an identity around defense last year. What do you envision this defense's identity being now in year 2 as the head coach, year 2 of the scheme? How would you describe what you want this defense's identity to be?
Yeah, we preach in our program, you can be in every game and win every game if you play great defense. And obviously offense has to score, you got to win the takeaway, turnover battle, but you play great defense, you have a chance to win everything. And being a defensive guy myself, like you mentioned, I'm hard on the defensive staff. I don't call the plays. Coach Cook, our defensive coordinator, does a tremendous job with his organization and his leadership on that side of the ball. And the defense is in good hands, but our defensive returners and the new guys who will take a much heightened role this year are ready for that challenge.
Hard to ask for much of a better building block to build a defense around than one of the nation's leaders and tacklers coming back. How important is JC Heim to just the entire operation, not just in terms of production, but leadership, the skill set that he has, and everything that he brings to your defensive side?
Yeah, JC is such a tremendous young man first, and obviously a tremendous football player second. But all the things you mentioned, being a local kid, being a all-conference player last year, and more awards will come his way as we move forward. But his work ethic and his leadership has really heightened this offseason. His work ethic's always been there, but his leadership, I challenged him to take that big leadership role, and he's done it. So I expect him to be one of those single-digit guys that we vote on in training camp, and I expect him to take on that leadership role along with having a tremendous on-field football success.
Lost a lot of playmaking and experience in the secondary. Who are you looking for to sort of take the reins, again, not just production-wise, but leadership-wise on the back end of your defense?
Yeah, losing Jordan Fennessy and Campbell Haverkamp, who's now on our coaching staff, several year starters you've lost. And so we'll have, 3 to 5 new starters in the back end, but they've all played before. They've all played, whether they're transfers, they've played at their previous school, or they've played here at Washburn. And so I'm really excited for the safety spots. We play several 2 or 3 deep at safety, and those guys have worked really hard to be leaders and to be the best players in our defense. And so I'm looking forward to where that battle goes.
Defensive lines. Looks like you got a lot of depth, a lot of size. How do you like how that group is coming along?
Yeah, that's one thing in the transfer portal you can never have too much of, the O-line, D-line. Like I mentioned, you're going to win in the MIAA from the trenches going outward, and we firmly believe that in recruiting and the way we treat our guys. We have to get the big guys in here, and so our D-line is as deep and as talented as it's ever been. We wanted to get bigger, taller, longer, heavier in recruiting, but also with our current players, and that was a big thing. Clint Dominic, our head strength coach in the offseason, focused on the size of the players, and so in recruiting we had very specific things and how we wanted to get bigger at that spot. So I'm really excited where we are there, and we'll be really good at that spot this year and for years moving forward.
Special teams, you got a kicker coming back at Aiden Battle with a big leg. How much of a leg up, pun intended, absolutely, does that give you coming into the year?
Yeah, I mean, having a returning specialist is always key. So returning kicker who made several 50-plus yard field goals. We have our multi-year starter at long snapper back, which is, as a former long snapper, that eases my mind every time that Preston goes out there. But we'll have a good punting battle going on. So we have some really good young guys coming up in the specialists that we've recruited. And so I think our specialists have a chance to be really special.
Last thing I want to ask you, Zach Watkins, head coach of the Washburn Ichabods. You mentioned your leadership group, those single-digit numbers, how you'd like to start that as a tradition here with Washburn football. Talking to some of the guys that are going to be probably part of that group, JC Heim, Ty Weber, real leaders on this team, they seem to really believe that the leadership of this group is strong. What in your mind characterizes the guys on this team that you feel like are going to be your leaders and going to get your guys moving in the right direction and climbing back up the MIAA standings this year?
Yeah, those guys are both on what we call the Influence Council, and their job is to influence the team. Obviously, the leadership comes with that, but we use the word influence to pull guys along with you. And so kind of the same facets we have in how we identify recruits is we want guys who are winners and competitors, and they love Washburn and want to be here and believe in me as a head coach, believe in our staff. And so those kids that you mentioned, Ty and JC, but our entire leadership group, and that's everybody from, there's some freshmen to fifth-year seniors in that Influence Council. Those guys have led this team to have the summer that we've had and hopefully the type of fall we expect to have.
Zach Watkins is the second-year head coach of the Washburn Ichabods, joining us from MIAA Football Media Days at the Washburn Indoor Facility. Zach, can't wait to see what it looks like starting in September. Thanks so much for the time.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
That's Zach Watkins. Really enjoy catching up with Zach. He bleeds Ichabod blue. He's excited about this team and really believes that they can take a step forward in 2026. They were on the cusp, as I mentioned in the interview. You go back and you look at their results last year. The record was 3-8, but you look at some of those losses. You had a 6-point loss at a very good Central Oklahoma team. You had a 7-point home loss to UNK, the 3-point overtime home loss to Fort Hays State, 3-point loss at Western. Any of those games could have gone the other way. And if half of them go the other way, you're talking about a team sitting right around that 500 mark. So, and that would have been a huge, would have been viewed as a huge positive step for Watkins' first year after they went 3-8 in 2024. So they're right there. They're not far from moving up the ladder in the conference. And they've got a little bit more veteran know-how. Obviously, they got to find their quarterback. They got to figure out how that situation is going to shake out. Not having a lot of stability at that position the last couple of years has maybe hurt the offense from being on track. But if somebody emerges and wins that job outright, I think they've got a chance. More experience up front to be good on that side of the ball. Big believer in the defense. They got playmakers at all three levels, good size up front. I think this is going to be a better and improved edition of Washburn football in 2026, and Zach Watkins does too. They open at Truman State August 29th. Home opener is Saturday, September 5th against the Colorado School of Mines. We'll have more MIAA Football Media Day interviews coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, my one-on-ones with JC Heim and Ty Weber. But first, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back with What Is Wrong With You next here on 580 Sports Talk. It is What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. We've got two new stories to compete to start a brand new week of What Is Wrong With You. It's our final week of What Is Wrong With You for July. We've got a short week. We'll crown a champion for the week on Wednesday. We've got our semifinals for the month of July on Thursday. And we will crown our 7th monthly champion of 2026 on Friday, July 31st. That winner, of course, advancing to December's Tournament of Fail Champions. I'll begin today. We're going to Florida, where 30-year-old Jeffrey Bartimus just wanted to party at 6:30 a.m., wanted to get his drink on. So he went to somebody who he lives nearby and tried to open the front door of the house while holding a six-pack of beer. The victim was awoken at this time, 6:30 in the morning.
Hold on, why do they pack a beer at 6:30 in the morning?
Because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I mean, I guess you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Because I like to party? Like, I don't know. 5 o'clock somewhere. The victim's dogs were barking continuously due to the presence of Bartimus at the front door. The victim, grabbed a gun and walked downstairs and confronted Bartimus, who was heading towards her back door at that time. Bartimus apologized, quickly jumped her back fence. He had a towel wrapped around his head for reasons that nobody seems to be able to figure out. He then got inside. So, okay, the way this the way this story is written is very confusing. So apparently, he tried to get in the front door with the sixer. That didn't work. So he went in and actually got in through the back door of the victim's house and helped himself to some vodka and tequila and a lime.
Hold on. I thought he came there with beer. Why wouldn't he drink the beer that he brought?
Because he saw there was tequila and thought, hey, let's do some shots. 6:30. 6:30 in the morning. Wake up with a tequila shot. He left open bottles, a cut lime, and a knife on the kitchen counter. That was the point at which he was confronted with the gun and left the house with the towel on his head. A police canine unit tracked Bartimus straight back to his nearby residence, where officers found his back door open. When police spoke to Bartimus, he claimed he'd been sleeping all morning after eating breakfast and drinking a few beers, some breakfast beers, and denied entering his neighbor's home. When told he was under arrest, he allegedly refused to get into the patrol vehicle and had to be pulled inside. He was booked into the Palm Beach County Jail for counts of unarmed burglary of an occupied dwelling, petty theft from a dwelling, the vodka and the lime, and resisting an officer without violence. Yeah, just... let's see if one of my neighbors wants to party.
Yeah.
I'll bring the beer.
Don't call them or text them.
Yeah, I'm going to knock. Oh, they didn't answer? Well, I'll try the back door. Hey, it's open, and I found the liquor cabinet. Hell yeah, brother. You know what rules at 6:30? Tequila shots. Let's do it. Shot. No, I'm gonna guess this guy probably has a drinking problem.
I would say
I'm gonna assume there might be, because look, breakfast beers are a funny thing when you're in college.
Yeah, there's an 11 a.m. game.
Yeah, you got that 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPNU or whatever. Yeah, you're the Jefferson Pilot game, the Raycom game in the SEC. Yeah, breakfast beers in the tailgate. Sure, harmless fun. This was almost not very harmless for him. Seems like she had the gun and the dogs. I don't think she was ever in. The victim here was not in as much danger as this guy. This guy clearly just wanted to booze out.
Yeah.
What is your story today, Spencer?
So you ever can't drive your vehicle because your license was suspended, so you found another vehicle? Oh, your license was suspended while under the influence, and then you operated this other vehicle while under the influence? Well, that's what happened in Iowa. An Iowa woman whose driver's license is suspended due to a conviction for driving her SUV while under the influence of meth has again been busted for operating a motor vehicle while impaired. According to court records, this time, however, Michelle Hudson, 36, was behind the wheel of an orange Husqvarna riding lawnmower, investigators allege. Hudson was arrested Friday night after a witness contacted police to report the defendant, quote, appeared to be intoxicated as she rode in the mower in the parking lot of a Casey's convenience store in Tiffin, a city outside Iowa City.
I got drunk and drove my mower to a Casey's. That's the most Iowa thing I've ever heard of in my life. Unbelievable.
She was arrested about a mile from her residence. According to the criminal complaint, she had performed poorly on a series of field sobriety tests and showed, quote, measurable signs of impairment like slurred speech, poor balance, and bloodshot, watery eyes.
So we used to, we've got some new, we have a new streaming video provider on YouTube. If you're watching the program on YouTube right now, we've got some different graphics. We got a different interface. We've been working through it. One thing that we're still working through is how precisely to get a picture to show up on the website, on the YouTube. So we're going to do it a little bit lo-fi. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm going to put the mugshot in the camera. Does this look like a woman who would drive impaired on a lawnmower? Is this face the face of a woman who would do such a thing? This is the face, frankly, of a woman who is surprised to learn that she's being accused of such a thing. I've never seen anybody with a look like this.
Yeah.
Is somebody fart in the background before they took the picture? What is going on there? Unbelievable.
So in the court documents, or the document, it says vehicle HUSQ model mower.
Yeah, naturally.
She took the breath test. She registered under the legal limit, but she was believed to be on a drug. She refused to provide a urine sample. She was arrested for operating under the influence and driving while barred, both of which are aggravated misdemeanors. She is being held without bond in the county jail in advance of an initial court appearance. This comes after her July 2022 conviction of operating under the influence after her Chevy Trailblazer was pulled over on an Iowa City street. Quote, the defendant admitted to using methamphetamine 2 days prior, reported a cop who noted the drug recognition expert evaluated Hudson and concluded she was, quote, impaired from a central nervous system stimulant.
So didn't have a license, but was dying for a slice of Casey's Pizza. And listen,
I get it.
Y'all were right about Casey's Pizza. I didn't believe it. I've told this story before. When I was living in North Platte, Nebraska, where I lived for 4 years, that was the first time I ever encountered a Casey's. We didn't have those in Colorado growing up. Grew up in the suburbs. We don't really have strong opinions about convenience stores in Colorado. I just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. We don't have strong convenience store opinions in the Centennial State, at least not in suburban Denver. Anyhow. So my first encounter with a Casey's was in North Platte, Nebraska. People used to tell me, actually, low-key, that's the best pizza in town. And the way I would roll my eyes and say, come on, man, it's a gas station. You're telling me the gas station has the best pizza in town? That does not speak well. Like, isn't there a Pizza Hut somewhere, like a Papa John's? Like I used to order, they had Little Caesars, right back when the hot and ready was $5, back when you had a proper country, and I would go get a hot and ready for $5. Anyway, I didn't believe them. Long story short, I believe them now. Not because I thought that all the pizza in North Platte was bad, but because Casey's Pizza is in fact good. You know what's really, really good? Their breakfast pizza. Every now and again, my wife will be like, hey, I want a Casey's breakfast pizza. Can you go make that happen for me? And I do. And we're never disappointed. Phenomenal stuff. Anyway, this is not intended to be an ad read for Casey's, but like, I get it. You got a craving. And you're trying to be creative. Like, you are, in a sense, trying to avoid breaking the law, right? You know you can't drive. You know you're high. And you're thinking, well, I'll just hop in a mower. A little workaround. Little loophole. Yeah, man.
DoorDash.
Uber Eats a slice from Casey's.
Look, I can guarantee you everything happening in the court, her bail, her everything is going to be more than it costs for her to DoorDash something.
Yeah, and those delivery fees are a lot, but they're not that much.
Yeah.
All right, I like both of these stories today. It's a strong start to the week. I'm going to go with the Husqvarna under the influence here.
Yeah.
Just, it is so quintessentially Iowa. Take the guy. Look, I can't drive, but I'm going to take the mower to Casey.
Yeah, I have a suspended license, but you know what? I'm going to try my Husqvarna lawnmower.
The only thing missing is like a Kirk Ferentz team going 3 and out. That would be the only thing that would make this story more Iowa. That's our winner on What Is Wrong With You. It'll be back tomorrow against our next 2 stories. Before we go to break, we're going to come back, talk a little Royals baseball. I want to tell you about my friends at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon here in the capital city. We got more rain in the forecast this week. That's a drag. You know what's a real drag? You go and you get your car washed and it rains. Well, if it rains within 24 hours of you getting your car washed at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon, you got 48 hours to come and claim your rain check and get your car washed again. That's just one of the many benefits that they offer the folks who come through and get the brightest shine at the best price. Some of their washes are half the price of their non-locally owned competitors here in the capital city. The best shine, the best prices, the best service. They really take care of you from start to finish, and you will leave happy with how your car looks, how your car is clean, and you're going to maybe need a wash here in a couple of days if it does rain on us the rest of this week. So go see him. Soar with the Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon in the Fairlawn Plaza here in Topeka. We'll talk a little Royals baseball when we come back. 580 Sports Talk.
0-1. And the pitch. Swing and a ball well hit. Left field, way back and gone! He's done it! Salvador Perez, number 318 in his career. He's now the Royals' franchise leader in home runs. One legend replaces another. Salvador Perez rounding the bases. And the Royals tying the game 2-2. See history made in Detroit.
What a moment for Salvador Perez on Saturday. You heard the boos there from the crowd at Comerica Park in Detroit. That had more to do with the game state because Perez had just tied the game at 2 in the 7th, the game that the Royals would go on to win on Saturday by a 3-2 score. Later on, there were some more respectful cheers from the Detroit crowd after the public address informed the crowd that history had been made, that Salvador Perez has passed George Brett and stands alone at the top of the home run list in Royals history, 318. And what's been really cool about it, as we welcome you back into 580 Sports Talk, Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis. And I've seen this point made elsewhere, so I don't want to say that this is an original point by any means, but I do agree with this. I think this has been what's really cool about it. Salvi didn't, have to drag himself across the line to get the record.
Yeah.
He's gone on a little heater out of the All-Star break. Perez now up to 15 home runs, obviously now 318 in his career, but he has, since the All-Star break, he's hit 4 of those home runs, and he has hit in 8 of 11 games. He's hit safely since the break, and he's bumped his OPS in the process 31 points up to still not an acceptable 624, but he's caught himself a little heater to get the record, which has been really cool. We didn't have to see him struggle for it or go 2 whole weeks without a home run and chase. Nah, he just went out and got it. Needed 4 dingers, got him in 2 weeks, and less than 2 weeks, in fact, and now has surpassed George Brett. That was the highlight of the weekend for the Royals, who snared 2 out of 4 over the Detroit Tigers and probably forced the Tigers into sell mode at this point. Tigers are now 50-56, 6 out of first, 3.5 out of a wild card. I think they're probably going to look at that weekend and say, if we can't get 3 or 4 from the Royals at home, we're not really a playoff team, and we got to start really taking some calls on Tarek Skubal. And, of course, the bitter irony will be if the Tigers get a bunch of dudes for Skubal in a trade that torment the Royals for the coming half-decade, and you say, well, gosh, maybe the Royals should have laid down in late July 2026 and given them a reason to keep him, and then he would have walked away as a free agent and had left him with nothing. For the record, this has nothing to do with the Royals, but the Milwaukee Brewers should do whatever they can to get Tarek Skubal, even if it's just a rental. They've never won a title. Jacob Mizorowski is unbelievable. He struck out 12 of the first 13 guys he faced against Colorado yesterday. He's throwing
and he got back up over 100.
Throwing 104.
Yeah.
He didn't throw a single fastball less than 100 miles an hour. Unbelievable. If they could go Mizorowski and Skubal 1-2 in the playoffs, who's beating him? Who's beating that team? I would sell the farm if I were Milwaukee. Just like they did for Sabathia in 08, and just like they did for Greinke. I would sell the farm and try and win a title with Scooble if I were the Milwaukee Brewers.
Back to Salvi for a moment.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool, this little nugget.
About the guy who caught it being a family friend of the Masseys?
Did not know that.
Oh, different nugget. Okay, go ahead.
Comerica Park is where he hit his first career home run.
That's true.
So that's pretty cool to say, like, look, I hit my first one here, and I never thought that I would get to where George Brett is, probably. At that point, I don't think Salvi did.
I read Joe Posnanski, longtime Kansas City sports writer, wrote for the Star for a lot of years, has written a ton of books, has one out with the guy who created Parks and Rec and The Good Place, Michael Schur right now. Joe Posnanski does an email newsletter, and he pointed out that going into 2011, all those guys who came up and impacted the Royals and helped them win the two pennants in the World Series 2015, like Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer, those guys were all top 5 prospects in the Royals system. And Will Myers was a top prospect, and Mike Montgomery was a top 5 guy. Salvador Perez was the 17th ranked prospect in the Royals system going into 2011.
Wow.
17th ranked prospect. And look, the system was really good at the time. It was the best in baseball at the time. But still, you go look at some of the guys he was ranked behind, they don't have 318 career home runs. So it's a really cool story. Salvador Perez's story from start to finish is somebody who has absolutely gotten the most out of his talent. A couple other things I want to point out about this weekend series. The Royals and the Tigers are done playing in Detroit this year. They got a 3-game series coming up late August in Kansas City. But they played all 7 that they're going to play at Comerica Park this year. All 7 games were decided by a single run.
Wow.
7 one-run games. And 5 of them featured a go-ahead home run in the 7th inning or later. April 15th, Wenzel Perez hit a tie-breaking home run off of Eli Morgan in a 2-1 Tigers win. The day after that was that rain day, getaway day game where the Royals scored 6 in the 7th. Salvador Perez hit a go-ahead home run to cap off a 6-run 7th inning off of Tyler Holton. Unfortunately, of course, the Tigers would score 3 with 2 out in the 9th and win that game 10-9. Thursday night, James Outman hit the 3-run home run off of John Schreiber. The Tigers were down 2-0, led 3-2. Royals would tie it, but the Tigers end up winning with a run in the 8th. Saturday, Nick Lofton hit the go-ahead home run in the 9th for the Royals off Jacob Waguespack. And then yesterday was Michael Massey in the 8th inning off of Drew Summers that gave the Royals a 5-4 win and salvaged the split. And not a home run, but in the first game they played at Comerica Park this year, April 14th, the Tigers scored twice in the 8th to turn a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 win. So that's 6 out of 7 games where the lead changed or the winning team took the lead in the final 2 innings. That's nuts. We knew going into this season that the Tigers and the Royals felt like they were very close. Felt like their rosters were very similar. Their talent levels were very similar. They were very close. And 7 one-run games this year suggest that we were right about that. Now, what we were wrong about is it's not at the top of the division where they're tight. It's at the bottom. But we were half right. We get some partial credit there. The other thing that's happening that's interesting right now, Steven Cruz got the save opportunity yesterday. And
that's his second.
Yes.
In a week or two.
Second in a week.
Since
Yeah, he had the save to complete the sweep of the Giants, so he gave up the home run to Casey Schmidt, but otherwise got the side. And then he got the side yesterday after a leadoff walk to preserve the 1-run lead. Steven Cruz striking out 11 guys per 9, which I really like. He's also given up 2.5 home runs per 9, which I really don't. And he can keep the home run ball in check, which right now on current form, it's pretty significant if. But I think that he is the likeliest guy. Like if you wanted to take early bets on who's going to be the 9th inning guy for the 2027 Kansas City Royals, smart money on Steven Cruz.
Oh yeah, I'm right there. One final thing I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't think we've given this too much of attention over the last, I don't know, not since the start of the season, but the last probably 60 games maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Massey.
Michael Massey's having a nice year.
For thinking, in my head, I think you got a back injury in baseball, you're never going to be the same. And he might not be to where he could be, but like consistent. He has been one of the consistent guys on this team over the last 2 or 3 months.
He's been the 3rd most valuable position player on the team this year by wins above replacement. 4th most valuable, Witt, Kaggs, and Garcia ahead of him. Hitting .274, .752 OPS, 27 extra base hits in 87 games. he a guy that you might take some phone calls on if you're the Royals here in this next
Maybe.
week? I think if you take some phone calls, you might consider maybe moving Massey. He's got some years of team control left. Might be a valuable trade piece. We'll take a break. We'll come back and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. As we wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk, Mark B. in the live chat on YouTube asking about Salvador Perez's career home run total and how it stands up against other catchers, or how many of his home runs are considered home runs by a catcher. And I'd be lying, Mark B., if I told you that I understood exactly how all of that worked. But I do know this. What they do consider, and you can, the thing about stats, you can set your own parameters however you want, but as far as home runs as a primary catcher, and Salvador Perez will always be considered, when he retires, he will have been considered a primary catcher, naturally, through the course of his career, even though he played, just like George Brett's considered a third baseman, even though he finished up at first base and DH. Salvador Perez will be considered a primary catcher. I think he's got 7 more home runs left before he passes, I think it's Lance Parrish and Gary Carter. Yeah, Parrish and Carter at 324. And when he passes them, Carter, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Parrish, who isn't, the only primary catchers who will have more career home runs than Salvador Perez are Carlton Fisk, Mike Piazza, and Johnny Bench. And all of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. So it'll be a pretty cool thing. That's the next number to watch. 7 more home runs. He passes Parrish and Carter, and he's top 5 all time as a primary catcher. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk, we got some headlines, including Melvin Council suing the NCAA. He wants to be a Jayhawk again. Plus, JC Heim and Ty Weber from the Washburn Ichabods from MIAA Football Media Day. Coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour on this Monday here on 580 Sports Talk. We're so glad you're with us on this Monday here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC Radio app, and in living color on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock. No Royals baseball tonight. Again, Boys in Blue starting their 10-game road trip with a 2-2 record through Detroit. They'll head to Minnesota, have another chance to influence whether a team decides to be buyers or sellers at the deadline if they can handle the Twins in a 3-game series. Twins are only 3.5 back, game under 500, 3.5 back of Chicago in the Central, and 1 game out of the wild card spot. So they probably are still in a position to buy, but you never know. Royals could go and sweep them and cause them to change some plans. 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Colorado for the Royals this week. Of course, you'll hear it all right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. So we've got one more hour to bring you here today. And in this final hour of 580 Sports Talk, we'll bring you some 580 Sports Talk headlines. A lot to get to, as always, from the weekend. We got some more Washburn Ichabod player audio from MIAA Football Media Day earlier today at the Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility at Washburn University. I spoke with senior tight end Ty Weber, junior linebacker JC Heim, and we'll bring you both of those exclusive one-on-ones with a couple of star Ichabods, formerly star Washburn Rural Junior Blues. So that's coming up later on this hour. We'll also continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff as we are under 50 days away from the start of Chiefs season, which means working backwards, we're definitely under 50 for the start of the NFL season. So we're 48 days to the first NFL Sunday. We are 46 days.
Is it a Wednesday?
Are they playing a Friday game?
I thought they were playing Wednesday.
Yeah, the Melbourne game. Are they playing the it's so stupid. Are they playing the Rio de Janeiro game week 1 this week, or is that a week 2?
I don't think so. I think that's a week 2 or week 3.
Okay, so we're 49 days away from the Chiefs opener on September 14th. 48 days from the first NFL Sunday. You're right. It's just the Melbourne game Thursday night, so Friday morning. So we are 48, 47, 45 days from Rams and 49ers in Australia, and that means 44 days away from the opener Wednesday night in Seattle, the Super Bowl 60 rematch between the Patriots and the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Remember that? The Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Wasn't that something? That was amazing.
Yeah, they let their running back go, and now he's on the Chiefs.
Yeah, they did do that. They did. The Super Bowl MVP plays for the Chiefs now. Yeah, it's
Didn't the owners say something about him coming back during the parade, and then they couldn't get a contract done?
That happens all the time. I remember when when the Nuggets won the NBA championship, and Bruce Brown, who was going to be a free agent, and the Nuggets literally, because of their salary cap situation, they couldn't give him more than $7 million. And he was going to make $20 million from somebody. But he was up there talking, what about if we run it back? What about if we run it back? I'm going to come back and we're going to run it back. And then like a week later, he signed with the Raptors or something. Like, come on, everybody's drunk, literally, and they're still riding the high, sometimes literally, certainly literally at the Nuggets parade. And yeah, you say some things that aren't really true, that aren't really possible, and that's okay. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. It's supposed to be celebratory. You're not supposed to be sitting there thinking about salary caps. You're supposed to be just enjoying these players that won your team a championship.
Yeah. Back to the scheduling. I just can't fathom that we're starting the season on a Wednesday.
We are starting the season on a Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah. It's a long. It's going to feel like forever between games for those teams. For Seattle and New England, it's going to feel like forever. They play that. That both of them play that following Sunday. That's a long ways between weeks 1 and weeks 2. But anyway, you know how else I can tell the football season is right around the corner? And maybe this is a universal experience for those of you out there who might be experiencing this week. Started to get the, hey, are you in for fantasy football this year emails?
Yeah.
You started to get those emails?
I sent one.
Well, yeah, you're in charge of the work league, so you sent, yeah, I get 2 of them a year, and one of them's from you. But no, I've been in a league with guys I lived with and knew in college, and we've been in a league together since, if I'm going to say, since my sophomore year, so we've been playing fantasy football since the 2005 season. So we're 20-plus years in this league, and it's mostly the same guys. We maybe have 1 or 2 guys drop out of the league, but it's mostly the same guys. And, yeah, the commissioner of the league sent the, hey, you guys in? Pay your entry fee, and just told one of our owners, change your password so your 10-year-old son doesn't log into the league forum and start trash-talking the other members.
Wait, did that happen?
It did happen. That did happen. And you know what? He was right to do it because that guy's team was like undefeated in the regular season.
Dang.
I don't remember if they won the title. I never remember. It's one of those things I always have to go back. Who ended up winning last year? I know it wasn't me. I'd have had a chunk of money if it was me. It wasn't me. But it's been a while.
I got 3 leagues, if you include this one. Mm-hmm. And one of them, I think, is falling apart.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah, we went from like 12 guys, and now we're at 7 yeses.
Well, I mean,
4 people haven't. Hold on, we're still waiting for 2 people to respond, and we might gain 2 more people.
Well, there you go. You'll get there.
Yeah, people left, and I was like,
you'll get there.
But also, it had to do with the dang guy. The commissioner decided to change everything up last year, and like
power mad commish.
4 people said yes, and then it didn't think how it would actually change things, and then it really like superseded the scoring, and it changed the scoring to like dumb.
We have a text from the 785. You're welcome to text the program, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk, the name of the channel. A text from the 785 asking if there is a 580 Sports Talk Fantasy League or Survivor Pool. Watch this space. Shoot. Text the show. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. Maybe we could throw something together.
Probably Survivor Pool.
Would
make the most sense.
We could do a Survivor Pool. We could get, round up some prizes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to we should do that. Yeah, we should do something like that. If there's enough interest, we can run that. So if you've got some interest in that and you want to text the show and let us know, 785-272-9429, and we'll find a way to put something together.
Yeah, I'm in a Survivor Pool too, but I never make it out of like week 4.
The only Survivor Pools I've ever done are the ones with you guys, with the show. Where 1 year Fulton, you're talking
about the ones we do on the show?
Yeah, on the show. Yeah, we had a 1 year back in the old mic'd up / 580 Sports Talk days. We had the Survivor Pool, and you got a mulligan. And Fulton burned his mulligan week 1 and then lost again in week 2. One of the funniest things in the world. I love you, Fulton, if you're listening today. That should be something that we do here moving forward.
If we do a March Madness bracket, we might as well do something like that.
Might as well. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Let us know if you've got some interest. 785-272-9429 or in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get into some headlines, shall we? Because this is a big one from the world of college basketball. Melvin Council is suing the NCAA in an attempt to gain a final year of college eligibility. The lawsuit was filed in Douglas County, Kansas, late last week. He has filed for a preliminary injunction to gain eligibility for this coming 2026-27 college basketball season. The lawsuit states that it would be his last in college and allow him to play 4 seasons at NCAA institutions. That's crucial here because he started his career at Monroe Junior College, played there for 2 years, then enrolled at Wagner and did not play or played there for a year. Then he played at St. Bonaventure for a year. Then, of course, played last year with the Jayhawks, where he was the Big 12 newcomer of the year. He was eligible for that season because he got a blanket waiver for graduating seniors in 2025 who had played a year in JUCO but didn't get their COVID waiver. Is that confusing enough for everybody?
I just can't wait till this is done.
Yeah, it would be nice to not have so much litigation and much clearer rules on the subject. But Melvin Council has sued and is filing for a preliminary injunction that would allow him to play this season. Per a summons document obtained by Michael Swain, friend of the program at 24/7 Sports at
Hey, we know
Fog.net.
that guy.
We do know that guy. The defendants have 21 days to respond. In the certification in the lawsuit from counsel, he states, quote, "I must promptly decide whether to forego opportunities to pursue professional basketball in order to preserve my remaining NCAA eligibility. Any delay in resolving my eligibility causes me ongoing and irreparable harm." The lawsuit also brings up extenuating legal circumstances that required counsel to attend a JUCO. A bit of a reach. He caught a rape charge, sexual abuse charge, before he started his college career, and those charges were dismissed. But the lawsuit mentions that those charges, quote, "created substantial and immediate uncertainty regarding his immediate potential criminal exposure, eligibility clearance, and ability to transfer and participate or travel and participate in NCAA Division I athletics. Because of these circumstances, Mr. Counsel was forced to enroll at an NJCAA school." So that is the argument. He was forced to play junior college basketball. He played 2 years there. He's only played 3 at NCAA schools. He believes he ought to get a 4th. And if he gets a 4th, it's going to be at Kansas. They have a roster spot. Bill Self gave a statement to 24/7 Sport that reads, "We're aware of Melvin's legal efforts to pursue an additional year of Division I eligibility, similar to what a number of student athletes across the country are doing. At this point, we are simply monitoring the process and allowing it to play out." So, as Self alludes to in the statement, Counsel's not the only guy out there who's basically, it's 4th and forever, and you're chucking up an 80-yard Hail Mary, with apologies for mixing our sports metaphors here, using a football metaphor for basketball. But that's what this is, and that's what, some of the other legal action based upon the implementation of the new 5-to-play-5 rules that don't apply if you played 4 years without a red shirt and just graduated. So there are a lot of guys out there who right now have real questions like, hey, am I going to get an extra year out of nowhere? And if I get an extra year, I'd like to use it. I'd like to play because my pro prospects aren't looking so good, and I don't want to live in Bosnia yet. I don't want to go play in Belgium yet. I would like to play one more year of college basketball, maybe get some of that sweet NIL cash. And there are coaches out there without full rosters, and Kansas does not, at the moment, have a full roster. My question about it from the Kansas perspective, though, is you're not imminently starting practice, getting ready for the season. The season doesn't start till November. You play exhibitions in October, but you've got an idea of kind of who plays well, practices well together, what you want your rotation to be, and all of a sudden you add a guy, and not just, oh, this guy can help us. This guy can be somebody who, we can plug in and they can help us. He was the Big 12 newcomer of the year last year. So you don't bring Melvin Council back to your program unless he's going to play and play a lot. But then where does that leave Leroy Blyden and Talon Kinney?
Also,
because one of those guys all of a sudden isn't a starter if Melvin Council Jr. is back in your program.
Well, and to another point, if he wants to come back, he better be able to accept no NIL. because they probably are about out of NIL.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too. Is you don't know what the NIL situation is looking like. Now, in Council's instance, I don't think it particularly matters. I think that obviously he's going to want something. He's not going to go play for free, but he wants to play at Kansas. This is specifically about I want to be eligible because I would like to play another year at Kansas because they love him in Lawrence.
Yeah,
and it's
he's a dog.
He's a dog. Woof woof. But so that is certainly a part of the equation in this case. But also, a lot of other big programs that have already parceled out all their NIL money. And might not have the room or might not have the roster spot or just might not have the playing time. So you're going to be limited as far as what your situation, what your available situations to play actually are. But this is not part of a broader class action. There are a lot of players. There are 2 different class actions that have been filed. One of them, I think, in Colorado, and there was another before that. And I don't remember it. I'm not looking up the details at the moment. But there are 2 class actions that have been filed regarding the new eligibility rules and claiming that, well, it's unfair to box us out because we played 4 years without a red shirt and graduated. We're being boxed out unfairly. And I think, honestly, those athletes do have a case, if we're being honest. This is Melvin Council on his own, filing in Douglas County. You will note that is where Lawrence is. That is where the University of Kansas is. And why would you file in Douglas County? The same reason Brendan Sorsby filed in Lubbock County. The same exact reason.
I bet
You're looking for a little home cooking.
I bet you Bill Self plays golf with people in Douglas County Court.
Well, I don't know that or not.
I don't know that either, but I bet they're probably members of the same country club.
They might be. You never know. But so this is something to watch because if Council does get his injunction, I think Kansas probably takes him back. Yeah. They're short. They are short a guard. They are short an experienced guard. I just don't know how you look Leroy Blyden in the eye, and Bill Self has had to do stuff like this in his career. That's why they pay him the big bucks, and he's been so successful. But how you look Leroy Blyden in the eye and tell him, hey, all those big plans for you? Yeah, sorry, you're moving to the bench because I got to play Melvin Council. And that's going to be a tough conversation to have. But too much talent, typically not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So in Kansas, like I said, they could use a guard. And Melvin Council, pretty good one. That's our first headline today. Spencer, give us another one.
Yeah, the TBT alumni bracket.
The TBT is fine. I'm not going to give you too much.
The basketball tournament's alumni bracket semifinals or semifinal is tonight in the state of Kansas. It includes 2 teams from the state of Kansas. The first one being JHX Jayhawks Hoops as they came back to knock off Purple Rain, K-State's alumni team, 62-55.
Zeke Mayo found his game just in time.
Yes.
He was great in the second half.
I will
on Friday
admit
night.
to you, I think I admitted over our group text chain that's with Brendan in it. KE, I did not attend this game to cover it. Had some stuff come up, so I did watch it, though. And KU came out shooting just like they did in game 1 on Tuesday in Bramlage, in which they were down 16-9 at the end of the first quarter. Well, they came back a bit. It was 12-0. When it was 12-0, I admit I turned it off.
Yeah, it was a slow start.
Then I checked, and I watched the entire Elam ending where the Jayhawks outscored Purple Rain 13-2 to win 62-55. Frank Mason gets the Elam ending winner once again. It's a double-double for Washburn alum Jacob Hanna, 10 points.
He's been really good in this tournament. That's
rebounds.
been so awesome to see.
And Dan, you mentioned it, Zeke Mayo found the ability to shoot late. He went 7 of 7 at the charity stripe, 25 points in the win. Michael Beasley had 17 and 6 blocks, 3 steals, 7 boards in the loss. 12 points for Austin Trice and 11 points for the non-K-State alumni Brandon Childress, who I don't know why they picked that guy.
They needed a ball handling guard. They were just all they had was wings.
Yes,
he was the only ball handling guard they had in the entire roster.
Yes.
which was the problem, which is why they ended up losing. They just didn't.
Yeah.
And I said it. I said it after the game too, when Jayhawks hoops rallied and won at Lee Arena. It's just you had more ways to score.
Yeah.
The only way that Purple Rain had to score was contested jump shots and threes, and they didn't have a lot of great three-point shooters on the roster. So if they were great three-point shooters, they wouldn't be playing in TBT. They'd be on NBA roster.
Exactly.
So when the well ran dry, when Xavier Sneed stopped shooting like prime Steph Curry, they didn't have a whole lot else on offense where KU could get downhill, get to the rim, create for others. They had guards like Mason and Hannah and Mayo who could either create for themselves at the rim or create looks for others, and just more different ways to score.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that the matchup went the way that it did.
They play the Aftershocks, the defending, reigning, undisputed TBT champions, the Aftershock tonight at Koch Arena in Wichita. That game coming up 8 p.m. on FS1.
Is
I
that
believe.
8 p.m. Eastern, or is that?
I think it's 8 p.m. Central. Let me double check.
Yeah,
here.
double check that.
It's 8 p.m. Central.
8
yes.
p.m. Central tonight.
For the chance to go to the alumni bracket final, the alumni bracket championship, to face La Familia, the Kentucky alumni team that knocked down the Syracuse alumni team 70-66. That game yesterday.
So if
that game would be Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central in Kentucky.
Yeah, in Lexington. So La Familia would host. If Jayhawks Hoops wins tonight and beats La Familia, the $2 million championship game would be at Lee Arena.
Next Sunday at 11 a.m.
So that's
noon.
Yeah, so that's a cool angle of it
Yes.
to root for. The non-alumni bracket, they have filled 3/4 of the semifinals. Heartfire Elite will play the Mecca, while Davis Steel awaits the winner between Gotham City Bockers and Red Rose War Ready. The winner
War Ready is part players from the Auburn alumni team, fun fact. And
Okay.
Red Rose, I don't know, but I remember looking at the roster and a bunch were Auburn.
So Aftershocks got a little bit of a scare from the New Mexico alumni, but they rallied and they took care of business in their game 3 on Friday night. So the
My
Aftershocks.
guy, QJ Peterson, who I actually interviewed at my last job, he played really well down the stretch. He scored 16, second leading scorer.
He's going to be important tonight. Again, like, unless you're just going to knock down an obscene amount of outside shots, you got to have somebody who can create with the ball in their hands. Jayhawks Hoops has that. Aftershocks, they're going to lean on QJ, and they're going to lean on Marcus Keene to do that. And then they do have a great shooter in Connor Frankamp to help stretch the defense
He
a little
hasn't
bit.
shot much, though.
Yeah, well, he's getting up there in years. He's
went
saving
1 for
it.
3. He had 2 points.
Might be saving it.
They Marcus Santos Silva was in double digits with 12. I don't know if he was a Wichita State guy.
So that's tonight, 8 o'clock. Jayhawks Hoops and Aftershocks in TBT action. I saw a lot of K-State fans in the aftermath of losing that game on Friday night saying, never do this again. Get rid of it. Junk it. We never win. Get rid of it. Nah, man, it's fun. Whether you win or lose, have fun with it. Enjoy it. I know it's hard to enjoy losing to Kansas. I get it. But, man, just enjoy, like, those guys having fun playing for you. Like, that's what that is. That's Michael Beasley and Xavier Sneed and Austin Trice and those guys. They play for you. Just like the Jayhawks guys have come back and play for those Kansas fans. And, yeah, like, they're playing for money. Don't get me wrong. But, like, the appeal of coming back and putting that color on again and playing for fans that appreciated them in their college days, enjoy it. Whether it lasts 3 games, 6 games, whether they win the $2 million or not, it was a fun week. It was a fun week of basketball.
And the guys, I don't know how serious they were, but man, like, they were bickering back and forth. I mean, it was your typical KU K-State like rivalry game. And,
it got nasty.
And it got nasty in the media too. But one thing I didn't like seeing was there's a video that KSNT sports director Cole Implet put on X of the post-game presser of head coach for
Sharon Collins?
Sharon Collins talking about the game and the win and beating, the rivalry aspect of the game, which is what they want in the TBT. Like, they want views, they want ratings, they want this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was getting wrecked about things that Sharon was holding his kid, mind you.
Yeah.
The post was getting quoted and wrecked with things that happened in Sharon's past, and that should not be brought up.
Well, it's a rivalry.
Because K-State fans were salty.
Text from the 785 asked what happened to Jacob Pullen playing. We've heard some things we can't confirm
he did
about.
post on X that the budgetary reasons. That's what he said.
Okay, yeah.
That the numbers of what he wanted if they won did not work out.
So hopefully he can make it work next year because that's the kind of player they needed. They needed a Jacob Pullen. Anyhow, let's real quick get you one more quick local headline here. Speaking of K-State basketball this year, they're going to play an exhibition game against Nebraska Monday, October 26th at a neutral site, Grand Island, Nebraska, and the Big Iron Events Center, Ihusen Arena. Monday, October 26th, it'll be the first exhibition matchup between the two schools and their first ever meeting in Grand Island, which the press release helpfully notes is 90 minutes west on I-80 from Lincoln and a 3.5-hour drive north from Manhattan. So K-State and Nebraska, that finalizes the exhibition schedule for Kansas State. They already have one scheduled against Mizzou. And so they will play Nebraska in Grand Island Monday, October 26th. Ticket and
schedule the game in regular season.
Well, they played in the regular season last year. They played in the Hall of Fame Classic.
Yes, but schedule at the home site.
I'd like to see a home and home. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I think it'd be great. Every old Big 8, Big 12 team should play each other at home and home.
Yes.
I'm all for that. Quick trip to the winner's circle. It was a good weekend to be a young phenom in golf and auto racing. Corey Heim, 24 years old, 15 Cup Series races, 2 wins. He wins at the Brickyard yesterday.
Going full-time next year.
All the hype about Carson Hocevar, and this kid looks like he's better already. And might be better than a lot of people
Carson
out there.
Hocevar's too busy with his TikTok girlfriend.
He does. He seems to be really into being famous, is what I've heard. Yes. Corey Heim is into winning races. 2 wins in 15 starts. Meanwhile, on the PGA Tour, in just his 13th career PGA Tour start, 21-year-old Jackson Koiven wins the 3M Open by 3 shots. Not a bad list of guys that he held off.
Very competitive round.
Scotty Scheffler, the runner-up, and then 2 other major champions, Hideki Matsuyama and Brian Harmon, right behind him. Gary Woodland had a good weekend, a T10 for G-Dub. He's now sitting 25th in the FedEx Cup standings with about a month left of the regular season. Not even that, I don't think, before the start of the FedEx Cup playoffs. That would put Gary in great position to play, for sure, the first 2 events of the FedEx Cup playoffs. The top 30 in the point standings make the Tour Championship at the end of the year. So G-Dub's on the fringe of playing in the Tour Championship this year, which is really awesome stuff. Jackson Koiven, 21 years old. A lot of people think he's the next big thing on the PGA Tour. He went to the tee on the 72nd. 18th is a par 5 at TPC Twin Cities, and fatted his drive about as bad as you or me would fat a drive. Hit right behind it. And so you could tell there were some nerves, but he gathered himself and he parred and didn't make a bogey, I think, all weekend. Didn't make a bogey yesterday, and wins the 3M Open. Those are your headlines. When we come back, Washburn football player interviews from MIAA Football Media Day. Hear from JC Heim and Ty Weber next on 580 Sports Talk. .536 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer with you. It was MIAA Football Media Day today here in the capital city, the Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility at Washburn University, playing host to this year's MIAA Football Media Day. All 10 teams, coaches, and a pair of players from each school in attendance. Earlier today on the program in the 4 o'clock hour, played my exclusive one-on-one with the second-year head coach of the Ichabods, Zach Watkins. I also talked to the 2 players that were representing the Ichabods in attendance, both a pair of Washburn Rural, or both former Washburn Rural Junior Blues. Junior linebacker JC Heim is coming off an All-American season that saw him rank 2nd in the country in total tackles, and he anchors a improving Washburn defense for 2026. First up, here's my chat with JC Heim.
From MIAA Football Media Days at the Washburn Indoor Facility, Dan Lucero speaking with Washburn linebacker JC Heim. And JC, nice to have this event in your backyard, right? Show off the digs and show people what the Washburn facilities are all about.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to speak on Washburn and show them the standard of Washburn.
How excited are you guys for this coming season? I know things record-wise weren't where you wanted them to be last year, but the on-field product was better last season. Yeah. You guys still feel like you're got that forward momentum going, ready to bring that into 2026?
Yeah, I think last year was a good foundation for us to build up upon this upcoming year. Being in a first-year defense is always hard. You're going to make those small mistakes, but I think, having the spring that we had and the summer that we had and the attendance that we've had this summer, it's just going to lead up into a year of us, dominate, hopefully, playing good this year in that second-year defense and just having fun out there with it. We had a lot of depth at a lot of positions, both offensively and defensively. We got a lot of guys that can play ball, so just excited to see those guys, put the work that they put in and work it out on the field. So
you guys kind of feel like you started to forge a defensive identity there towards the second half of last season, and how would you describe what you want the identity of this defense to be?
I think, towards obviously, as I said, this is, last year was our first year playing this defense, and it can be kind of tough. So going into this second year, just limiting the small mistakes, and, I want our defense to, just be disciplined, known as a disciplined, sound defense that, plays physical and has fun while doing it. So.
Your role in that is a leadership role as a veteran guy. How much more comfortable is it from an individual perspective going into year 2 and having the concepts down and being able to feel like you're starting from ahead instead of maybe drinking from a fire hose with all the new information?
Right. Yeah, I'm excited. I definitely during the spring I could tell I'm not so much as thinking as much. With being more comfortable in the playbook. That's just going to lead on to, spreading it through the other guys. And, I just could see that during the spring, how we play more confident instead of timid and with some things. So,
talking to JC Heim, linebacker for the Washburn Ichabods here at MIAA Football Media Days. You go into this season off of a year where there were some close games that got away from you guys last year. You were 3-8, but you had 4 losses by 1 score or fewer, 1 touchdown or fewer. What has to get better in those games? How do you execute better team-wise, defense-wise, to make sure that this year you're on the right side of some of those tight games?
Yeah, I think we just have to, finish it off in the fourth quarter. I think that's what, got us where we're in a fourth quarter team. That comes with discipline, consistency, and just overall effort. So I think that's what we did a really good job here the spring and summer, moving on to this next season, just being disciplined, sound team, and just overall a good competitive team.
you yourself had a monster year, obviously, from a tackle perspective. Did you, at the end of the year, you look at that number of tackles and realize that you had that many, or is it something you get into a flow state during a game and you're just trying to be around the ball?
Yeah, right. I like some would say I just have a nose for the ball. Just being around the ball is, something I, all out effort to the ball, sprints the ball every play. So just kind of comes with, how I play the game. And I wouldn't be able to do that with the guys I had up front and behind me and beside me. So, I'm just excited going into this next year, just doing more of my job and helping the guys around me to do more of their job and just be an overall disciplined defense.
Who are the guys you're really excited about this year on your side of the ball you feel like are primed to break out, be names that we're all going to be hearing a lot more often these coming fall Saturdays?
Yeah, I think up front-wise, you got Jamon Lane. Played football with him in high school. You got Amani Jimerson, Elijah Clark-Boyd, Danny. Just got Jay Green, got a lot of dudes up front, and that just helps my job, makes my job a little easier. And the guys beside me, hopefully, my brother gets in the rotation, my twin brother Jaron, and you got Gage and other guys along the linebacker crew. So I'm excited to play with those guys. And then behind me, we got a bunch of good safeties, Brody Hayes, Braden, Reese. We got a lot of depth at safety. And then corner, you got Keith, GT. So we just got a lot of guys, a lot of depth, as I've said, a lot of positions. So just really excited to see those guys, hard work pay off that they worked out this summer and, pay off during the season. So I'm just excited to watch them ball.
The Heim boys are all reunited now this year again.
Yeah.
You and Jaron have been on the roster. Jordy joins the team this year. Did you guys ever dream that it would come to this, that you guys would all be on the same college team one day? Was that ever anything you considered, or just something that it's kind of beautiful how it worked out?
Yeah, it's beautiful how it worked out. In high school it was honestly awesome where all three of us were on the field at the same time. And even then we got some offensive plays together. Both brothers played tight end, I played running back. We had a block package. So, having that over here at Washburn's, making things easier. Just having those guys, they're both supportive guys, and I'm glad to, take my younger brother under my wing, and then obviously, like I mentioned, play with my twin brother along the side. So,
JC Heim, linebacker for the Washburn Ichabod, joining us from MIAA Football Media Day. JC, can't wait to watch you and your teammates ball out this season. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Going to be fun to see what he does for an encore after, again, being second nationally in tackles as a sophomore. Meanwhile, his teammate, senior tight end Ty Weber, also present at Washburn Football Media Days today, and here's what Ty Weber had to say to me.
From MIAA Football Media Days at the Washburn Indoor Facility, Dan Lucero speaking with Ty Weber, the senior tight end for the Washburn Ichabods. And Ty, how nice is it to have this be here today? Everybody's walking in and seeing where you guys get to work out every day, and you guys get to have a little bit more pride in where you work out and where you call home.
Yeah, it's awesome. They get a taste of our world where we get to have the blessing to be here every day. And it's also nice for us. We don't got to drive all the way across the state.
That's
so
true.
That's probably one of the better things of it.
Have a good summer? Everything go well?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had 90 to 100-plus guys here, and they've worked their tails off with Coach CD's weights program. And it's kind of been an intentional thing to show up every day and put in our best foot forward.
Better year two understanding of what's expected, what Coach Watkins expects from you, what your offensive staff expects from you, and does that make it not easier because you're still working your tails off, but does it make it a little bit more straightforward to know what you're getting into and feel like you're a little bit more prepared?
Yes, sir. It's a natural evolution of things. We have our motto, be the standard. And I think it takes a while to get everyone into that process and where we are, where we were year one to year two. And you get new guys in, you have to kind of mold them into that as well. But I think they've seen what we do as a team and the leaders on this team, and I think it's just been natural how well everyone's molded together.
We're talking to Ty Weber, tight end for the Washburn Ichabods and MIAA Football Media Days. You've undergone quite an evolution in your football career, even just here at Washburn, from one side of the ball to the other, to the tight end position. What does the final form of Ty Weber look like? What are you hoping to bring to the field this year in your senior season?
I think the one word I think of is domination. But at the end of the day, it's helping the younger guys play to the best potential that they have, and I think keeping everyone on a straight and narrow when things don't necessarily go our way, the ball doesn't bounce our way. I want to be the guy that people look to, and I think that's been hopefully the final evolution of it.
You've been through a lot as a player. How much does that help you lead and guide the younger players? What your perspective, your unique perspective that you have in your football life, how does that help you lead the next generation?
Yeah, the young guys have a joke that I'm the old guy on the team now, and it's been different for me. But I think it's been awesome because I've seen him almost every situation in the game. So. Been through a lot with in-game, off the field as well, but so when things go wrong or not necessarily our way, that they can look to me and see what I'm doing, maybe ask what I'm doing, and that also just helps our team be better going forward.
Obviously, you've got a perspective on all the different aspects of your offense. I want to start by asking you about the offensive line. Everything starts up front. What's your read on how those guys are coming into the start of the season?
Yeah, that's probably been the best group in terms of how they've changed over the past couple of years. They've definitely put in the work, and now they're just ready to kind of put some old things to bed. Our run game's looked amazing. The schemes that coaches has us in, the protection's has been awesome, and I can't speak to their work ethic enough and how they've just been working their butts off.
How about the quarterbacks? Obviously, you've got a lot of really talented guys at that position coming in. They're going to battle for playing time. Bit of a iron sharpening iron situation there. Those guys making each other better, and then as such, making the rest of the offense better.
Yeah, those guys. I mean, as well as the O-line, they work their tails off, but they're also natural-born leaders. Their instincts on the field are second to none, and it's been awesome to see in the summer when we have our OTAs in the morning, and we've been working through some stuff, and them just being able to lead from the front lines in the backfield it's been really, truly special to watch.
Talking with Ty Weber here at MIAA Football Media Day, senior tight end for the Washburn Ichabods. Last year, you guys were on the cusp. You had 4 one-score losses, could have flipped your record around, made it look much better at the end of the year with a little bit better execution, a little bit better luck, too, in some of those games. But what are the things that you guys, particularly on the offense, are really locked in on about executing better, making sure you do finish that drive, you do get 7 instead of 3, and you do find a way to win those close games this year?
Yeah, we try to flip our one-play mentality, so every play is a different play. So we can get 10 yards on one play, a loss of 3 the next, but every play is just its own game, and I think that's kind of helped people flip that mentality of, all right, we have this drive that we're going on this long drive, but I mean now it's kind of we're going to be in your face regardless, and it's been awesome to see, especially up front. These guys, they've kind of taken that and ran with it, and I think that's only going to help us going forward.
You have worn a lot of different jersey numbers in your time as an Ichabod. You're switching to 0 this year. Obviously, the leadership group gets to wear those single-digit numbers, so that's an honor for you to get a single-digit number. But you going to try going for a record or something? Most jersey numbers in Washburn history?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. If I'm blessed to be in that opportunity again, I think I'll stick for 0.
What do you make of the leaders on this team, and what do you believe that the leadership group will help to define for not just the 2026 Ichabods, but the guys moving forward who are going to continue to try and build a foundation and a winning tradition back at this program?
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of times in these other programs, these guys who come in who are leaders, they've kind of already seen the success, and these guys who are coming in now, they may not have, so they're hungrier to get back on that track. And our influence council is kind of special because it's leaders, it's guys who will be single digits, but it's also guys who just transferred in, some guys who are young, so you get every aspect of the team, and I think that just helps going forward. You help grow these leaders when they're young, and then eventually when they're seniors, juniors, they're in that position of, all right, now I'm going to be that single digit.
Ty Weber, senior tight end for the Washburn Ichabods, joining us from MIAA Football Media Days. Ty, can't wait to see you and the guys get back on the field this fall.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
That was Ty Weber. Had a great time at MIAA Football Media. I almost said Big 12 Football Media Days. Just got a reflex. We do so much Big 12 stuff. But MIAA Football Media Days at the Bill Snead Indoor Athletic Facility at Washburn. Really looking forward to the season. Looking forward to seeing Washburn football progress in year 2 under Zach Watkins, because I really believe they're going to. I think they've got a chance to be a much better football team. And they do. They have tremendous leadership, good players in the leadership group, but also good guys, good kids. I could say kids. They're 18 to 23, and I'm almost 40. They're kids. They are. But they're solid group of young men on that Washburn football team. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue our countdown to Chiefs kickoff on the other side of this break here on 580 Sports Talk. .551 on 580 Sports Talk. We're coming down the home stretch on this Monday edition of the show. Again, no Royals baseball tonight. Royals off tonight, resuming their road trip tomorrow night in the Twin Cities, first of 3 against Minnesota. We are 49 days away from Chiefs kickoff. Chiefs and the Broncos, September 14th, Monday night, Arrowhead Stadium. Number 49 on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is one of those sickos only, if you know it off the top of your head. That is Trey Watson, the rookie tight end who was on the practice squad last year. I think it was Jesse Newell whose initial 53-man roster projection, I guess not initial, it was his 53-man roster projection coming out of minicamp, had Watson on the roster as one of 4 tight ends. Chiefs have traditionally kept 4 because they've run a lot of 3 tight end stuff, a lot relatively speaking. It's also a big trend in the league. Teams going 3 tight end sets. The problem is the teams that are running it aren't coached by Sean McVay. So a lot of the teams that run their 3 tight end stuff, it's not good.
It's not. It doesn't look right.
Like,
it doesn't work.
Like
it's not how it's intended.
The Jaguars are so in on running 3 tight end stuff that they drafted like a blocking tight end in the second round of the draft this last year. So yeah, that's like it's an in vogue thing, but you have to like run it well. And the Chiefs, to their credit, they've been one of the teams that over the years has had success running 3 tight end stuff. And obviously, you've got Travis Kelce back and Noah Gray, but after that, a bit of a void at tight end, and Trey Watson certainly is going to have a chance to be one of the 4 that makes the roster. Jared Wiley, you would think, is in pole position to land another one of those spots. It's either Watson or Jake Brenningstool, who was the camp darling last year before he got hurt and then got IR'd, and then John Michael Gillenborg, the kid out of Rockhurst in Wyoming, who is going to start this camp on the PUP list. Obviously, that puts him behind the 8 ball as far as a chance to make the team. So Trey Watson, a name to know, and might end up on that 53-man roster. No practice tomorrow. Tomorrow is orientation because everybody shows up.
It's intake day.
It is intake day. That's what they call it. Team arrives in full tomorrow. It had just been the quarterbacks, the rookies, and Felix Anudike-Uzama were there the last few days. So everybody will show up tomorrow. No practice, no media, and then everybody hits the ground running on Wednesday. We'll take one final break, and we will hit the ground running out of here with a final word to wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk. It's final word time here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's wrap up the show. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
Yeah, final word for me, kind of work, kind of personal at the same time. Honored to see earlier that I won a Kansas Association of Broadcasters.
Yeah, you did. First place.
Been a crazy...
best large market sportscast. This guy, Spencer Dupuis.
It's been a crazy 2 years. Been on and off the show, obviously, due to picking up agriculture. But, man, it feels great to know that I can still do the thing I love while also, picking up work that needs to get done around the station. So excited and honored to have won the award.
As you should be. Congratulations in order for our guy, Spencer Dupuis. And those plaques are pretty slick. I've got a handful of my own, and your first one will look good. Wherever you want to put it, your desk or at home, it'll look good, and you deserve it. Congratulations, pal. Final word for me today. A lot of directions we could go today. I just want to say one more time, I'm really excited about the future of Washburn football. I think it's in really good hands with Zach Watkins. I think that he's the right guy to lead this program, and I get more and more convinced of that every time I talk to Zach Watkins, because nobody's more passionate about Washburn and what's possible at Washburn and what's possible in the program than Zach Watkins is. So I enjoy talking to him and getting that perspective from him. And I think even though last year's team didn't produce the number of wins that they would have liked to, I think you started to see Washburn football develop an identity. They developed it around defense and playing fast and being physical, being together, and being a team with tremendous leadership. And I think you're going to see that reflected this year on the gridiron, talking to Ty Weber and JC Heim at MIAA Football Media Days today. Those guys are excited. They're excited about their own potential, certainly, and both guys have a chance to be impactful players this year, but they're just excited about the rest of their teammates and the leadership that exists and the clarity of focus that exists on that roster. So I think good things are ahead for Washburn football. It's tough to execute a turnaround in the MIAA, but if anybody's up for it, it's these Washburn Ichabods. That'll do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 until 6 for Spencer Dupuis. I am Dan Lucero, and this was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.